began to turn as he spoke. Is there something behind me? Today, I shall see who the hell. Upon catching sight of Ji Xian's towering figure, his fur stood on end, and he hastily swallowed back his profanities. Look at who is so elegant and striking, with an imposing presence, like a dragon soaring across the river. Oh, Ji Xian, good evening. It has been millennia since we last met. Hearing this, Ji Xian smiled and patted his head, saying, continue, do not mind me. Greetings, ancestor. Jing Jing and Wang Lu promptly bowed. Ao Sheng, feeling out of place, ultimately imitated their gesture, bowing as well. You are the young Ao Sheng? Ji Xian approached him. Yes, indeed, I am, Ao Sheng replied. Ao Sheng made a valiant effort to straighten his posture, yet ultimately succumbed to weakness. He was filled with a mixture of joy and trepidation. Better than your father, Ao Tian, focus on your training. Ji Xian nodded in agreement. In his eyes, Ao Sheng's blood had undergone a mutation, exhibiting ancestral traits, and to some extent, he could evolve towards the direction of the ancestral dragon. Seizing the opportunity, Ao Sheng reported to Ji Xian, my lord, you have no idea how my father bullies my mother every night. She suffers terribly, please save her, she is so pitiable. Subsequently, Ao Sheng vividly recounted the clashes between Ao Tian and Ao Yu, asserting that if he grew strong in the future, he would ensure to give Ao Tian a good thrashing on behalf of Ao Yu. However, while he was narrating this, Ao Tian had silently positioned himself behind him. Having heard everything. Chapter 371. Mortal immortal among the crowd. Many struggled to suppress their laughter, their faces flushed. Ao Tian wore a grim expression in Ji Xian's presence. He refrained from losing his temper, merely patting Ao Sheng on the shoulder with a serious tone. Before dawn, I will give you time. You can hide anywhere in Xianzhou, but after that, I will come to find you, and don't let me catch you. As he spoke, he revealed the metallic belt strapped around his waist, glinting ominously, exuding a chilling aura. Ao Sheng stood frozen, realizing the gravity of the situation. He was about to be punished. You better run. Ao Tian bellowed, startling Ao Sheng into a leap, vanishing into the depths of the forest. Observing Ao Tian's imposing figure, Ji Xian chuckled. Ah, you've grown. Before departing from the Dao sect, Ao Tian had still appeared youthful, but now he had grown taller, his features sharpened and matured significantly. Young master, it is a pleasure to finally meet you. Ao Tian exclaimed joyfully, insisting on sharing a drink with Ji Xian. After a separation of several millennia, many sentiments were hard to articulate, yet the bond between men could be conveyed through a single jug of wine. Thus, Ji Xian accompanied Ao Tian, disappearing into the mountainside. With the master finally gone, I dare not utter a word here. Wang Lu rose, brushing off the dust from his knees. Dressed in a black robe, with a sacred sword at his side, he stood tall, resembling Ling Yun in several aspects, aside from his complexion. Come, let us continue drinking. Wang Lu approached the pot, lifting a cup to take a sip. Suddenly, a large hand seized his neck, lifting him off the ground. Turning around, he found Ling Yun standing behind him, his eyes wide with fury, resembling copper bells. Master, please let me explain. I have not forgotten about my cultivation. Wang Lu stammered. Ling Yun gave him a sharp rap on the head and replied, you haven't reached the sacred king realm in thousands of years. Yet you still dare to say you haven't forgotten? Well, my boy, when the master is present, someone guards you, but with the master gone, let's see who can protect you. With that, he unfastened his belt and kicked Wang Lu into the thicket, following closely behind. Slap, slap, ah, master please, slap, ah. In the depths of the forest, the cries of agony echoed. This scene left the howling sky dog and the second husky in stunned silence. Within a moment, everyone had departed. The howling sky dog looked toward the departing Jingjing and inquired, why are you leaving too? Jingjing has blossomed into a young maiden, adorned in a pink lotus skirt, standing gracefully with an elegant demeanor. She shrugged her shoulders and remarked, who knows? Those who should return have done so. Perhaps my master is somewhere, observing me. With that, she tore through the fabric of space and vanished. The scene swiftly fell into silence. The night breeze rustling the fur of two dogs. Let us drink, my friend, they exclaimed. A month later, Ji Xian emerged from Ao Tian's residence, a vast mansion nestled at the foot of the mountain. He turned back to glance at Ao Tian, who lay drunkenly on the floor, a smile gracing his face. Safe travels, senior. Ao Yu, clad in a loose robe with her hair elegantly piled up, revealed a hint of her bare shoulder. Exuding a newfound maturity after marriage and motherhood, Ji Xian turned away, waving his hand as a gust of wind swept by, and he vanished from sight. He returned to the Dao sect, standing atop the golden palace of the heavenly emperor, surveying the entire sect. By the riverside, the river god led a group of young disciples in fishing, a routine unchanged for millennia. The only difference was that the disciples had matured considerably, with several new faces among them. Bailu Academy sent students here annually to study, yet ironically, these children seemed to have learned only the art of fishing. On a small island in the river, an old turtle languidly basked in the sun, blissfully asleep. Surrounding it were several elderly spirits, gathered to engage in leisurely conversation, embodying tranquility. The sky was vast, and the waters teemed with fish and birds, while children with golden hair played joyfully. Outside, the world was engulfed in war, chaos reigning supreme, yet within the Dao sect, a scene of peace prevailed. After pausing for a moment, Ji Xian descended the mountain. The territory of Xian Prefecture had expanded once more, growing fivefold over the past few millennia to encompass over 30 states. Countless cities dotted the landscape, bustling with mortals and cultivators alike, their clamor a lively cacophony. Yet to Ji Xian, all of this appeared profoundly serene. In a small town, Ji Xian spotted the Xiao family from afar. Their lives had seen a slight turn for the better, though they still struggled. Xiao Dou's son, Xiao Yu, had been gravely injured on the battlefield, nearly losing his life, and now bedridden. Xiao Dou tirelessly scoured for resources to support her family, while her young grandsons cried out for sustenance. The burden of this household had once again fallen upon the elderly woman. Though she had attained sainthood and her lifespan had increased, the weight of life's pressures kept her looking frail, unable to regain her youth. Through this family, Ji Xian perceived the hardships faced by lower-tier cultivators, a stark contrast to his elevated standing at the pinnacle. He departed, fading into the horizon. Returning to Qingguang City, he found that the Dao sect had conquered this stronghold. The devastation of the past battle had long since vanished, replaced by a grand city. Its strategic location facilitated easy development. In a modest courtyard, Ji Xian beheld a familiar figure, the enigmatic Daoist. Her attire had shifted from a robe adorned with golden threads to a more unassuming garb. Once, when the Daoist sacred land faced annihilation, in her despair, she chose to succumb to darkness. Ultimately, she was rescued by Ji Xian, allowing her to embark on the path of cultivation once more. To Ji Xian's astonishment, a little girl, resembling her closely, with two adorable pigtails, accompanied her, exuding a sweet charm. To think you have returned to the mundane, Ji Xian remarked. In response, Wu Miao turned around, and upon seeing Ji Xian, hastily set down her teacup and knelt in reverence. I am the humble Wu Miao, paying my respects to the Xian Emperor. Ji Xian gazed at the little girl, a gentle smile gracing his lips. What is her name? Yao Yao, Wu Miao replied. Squatting down, Ji Xian playfully pinched Yao Yao's cheek and presented her with a piece of jade. Accept this, it shall bring you good fortune. With curious eyes, Yao Yao looked at Ji Xian, feeling an unexpected warmth towards this enthusiastic uncle she was meeting for the first time. She reached out and accepted the jade. Thank you, uncle. Subsequently, Wu Miao spoke of her life in recent years. Witnessing the turmoil ravaging the 3,000 states, she chose not to engage with the world, marrying a worldly man and having this child. I feel deeply ashamed for not continuing on the path of cultivation, despite your benevolence, great emperor, Wu Miao said. Bowing her head, Ji Xian waved his hand dismissively. No need for concern. The world is akin to a sea of suffering, and every being must traverse it. You, I, and he, each has the right to choose how to live. Regardless of the outcome, of life and death, what matters is joy, whether one cultivates or not. What difference is there between the emperor and the common folk? A lifetime, a century, or a million years in the vast cosmos is but a fleeting glance. Live unrestrained, and become the person you wish to be. After a simple meal, Ji Xian took his leave. Wu Miao remained lost in contemplation of Ji Xian's words, repeating to herself, live unrestrained, and become the person you wish to be. At that moment, Yao Yao, cradled in her arms, pointed at Ji Xian's departing figure and asked, Mother, is that the immortal mentioned in the stories? Wu Miao looked up towards the door and in a daze, saw Ji Xian's shadow blending with the bustling commoners in the streets, indistinguishable from one another. She nodded softly, murmuring, yes. Inside a tavern, Ji Xian drank alone. After a while, he received a message from the Imperial Knight. Master, we have discovered the whereabouts of the Assassin Divine Dynasty's headquarters. Ji Xian commanded, mobilize the troops. Understood. Chapter 372. Ling Yun as Bait. The Demon Sealing Domain is a place among the 9 heavens and 10 earths, the very headquarters of the Assassin Divine Dynasty. Unlike other universes, the major sects here are established within small worlds opened up by powerful beings. Viewed from a distance, these myriad colorful small worlds resemble bubbles floating in space. The headquarters of the Assassin Divine Dynasty is concealed among these bubbles, making it exceedingly difficult for ordinary people to detect. Engaging in covert activities, they find it necessary to remain well hidden to avoid the encirclement of various forces. The Dao sect's army rushed forth at full speed, reaching this destination in under 3 years. Under the blood moon, everything was veiled in a thin shroud of red. In the depths of the cosmos, an ancient continent hovers, barren and unremarkable, devoid of any vegetation. Yet, who could have imagined that this desolate place serves as the stronghold of the fearsome Assassin God Dynasty, a force that sends shivers down the spines of the mighty? The howling winds sweep through, while herds of wild beasts sprint, their golden eyes flickering like dancing flames, starkly visible in the night. The Dao sect's army has arrived. Concealed within a small world created by Ji Xian, to avert detection by the high-ranking cultivators of the Assassin God Dynasty, allowing them to make a quick escape. In the distance, a hidden small town nestles between the mountains. According to intelligence from the Imperial writers, it is highly likely that the Assassin God Dynasty is concealed beneath this very town. Atop the mountain, Ji Xian gazes down at the town below. His iridescent eyes seemingly capable of piercing through all, lost in thought. After a moment, a peculiar smile graces his lips as he remarks on the cautiousness of the situation. Within the town, Ling Yun strolls down the bustling street, dressed in a long robe, trailing behind a group of individuals. Several assassins walk in tandem, and Ling Yun has been keeping a close watch on them for several days. These are high-ranking operatives of the Assassin God Dynasty. As the scents of alcohol and perfume waft towards him, Ling Yun scrunches his nose in distaste. The street is alive with vibrant lights and sounds, the clinking of glasses in taverns, the raucous shouts of card players, and the muffled groans from an inn above. Everything in this environment repulses him, making it a torment for someone devoted to asceticism. However, to fulfill the task entrusted to him by Ji Xian, he must endure and bide his time for a favorable opportunity. A seductive voice calls out to him, "Hey, handsome, come play with us." He turns to find a group of provocatively dressed women beckoning him. Ling Yun is clad in thick layers, with only his eyes exposed. "Begone," he growls, exuding murderous intent, his gaze igniting like fire, locking onto the women. Their expressions shift dramatically, as the figure of the heavily cloaked man transforms in their vision into a roaring primordial beast. A single beastly roar shakes the mountain town to its core, as if the heavens themselves were about to collapse. The aura emanating from him is that of a great sage. Fear grips the women as their legs tremble uncontrollably, and they hastily flee back into the safety of a nearby establishment. Ling Yun retracts his mental illusion and continues to fixate on the target ahead. Suddenly, the group of high-ranking assassins turns a corner, their presence fading from his senses. A small world? Could this be the entrance to the Assassin God Dynasty? A surge of excitement courses through Ling Yun, but he quickly regains his composure. The Assassin God Dynasty is notoriously cautious, and there may be a trap. Determined to uncover the truth, he resolves to take the risk and venture inside. Approaching the entrance, he gestures with his finger, slicing open the portal to the small world. As he steps into the rippling space, he vanishes from the street corner. Contrary to his expectations, he finds himself in a misty realm. Upon entering, a sensation akin to steel needles piercing his skin envelopes him, as the holy power within him faces suppression. Suddenly, a chilling light flickers in the hazy world, and an arrow, streaking through the air, aims directly at Ling Yun. Ling Yun transforms his fingertips into blades, radiating a divine light of black and white. And with a decisive strike, he cleaves the arrow in twain. An arrow capable of slaying the great sage was effortlessly caught by you, lad. You are no ordinary individual. Speak, what is your purpose in seeking my divine dynasty? A few figures emerged from the mist, exuding arrogance, their gaze fixed on Ling Yun. Perceiving him as a lost prey, to slay you is my intent. Before the words could fully resonate, Ling Yun vanished from his position, transforming into a fleeting shadow that surged forth. Defend yourselves, the leading man bellowed, summoning an ancient formation disc. Instantly, a more terrifying pressure descended, akin to a mountain weighing heavily upon Ling Yun, rendering him nearly immobile. Yet, within him, the essence of the Sword King roared to life, the white tiger roared, and the true dragon soared, effortlessly dispelling the oppressive force. Here stood several great sages, and a quasi-emperor as well. What do you possess to contend with us? The resonating echoes were abruptly interrupted as a massive beast lunged from the darkness, its body a fusion of tiger, bear, and adorned with ram horns. Clearly a primordial ferocious creature. However, in the next moment, with a stroke of supreme sword light, this near quasi-emperor great sage was cleaved in two, from head to toe. The sacred blood, scorching hot, sizzled as it mingled with the mist, producing a crackling sound. Imperial weapon. Cries of astonishment arose from the mist. In that instant, Ling Yun brandished his sword and surged forth, his movements enigmatic, black and white intertwining, shadows flickering, akin to a reaper traversing the mortal realm, instilling fear. With swift strikes, aside from the leading quasi-emperor, the other assassins fell like wheat before a scythe, scarcely having the chance to react. The quasi-emperor, startled and dismayed, was a revered figure in this city. How could he be cornered by an obscure young cultivator to such an extent? Dare you lay aside your imperial weapon and engage in a fair battle with me? The quasi-emperor retreated, seeking a way to extricate himself. Ling Yun replied coldly. How dare a quasi-emperor aspire to be an emperor? Are you worthy? My equipment suppresses you. That is my strength. Your inferiority is your own inadequacy. With a flick of his finger, he unleashed a torrent of sword energy, like a steel flood, aimed at the quasi-emperor's brow. Clang, clang, clang. The sounds of metal shattering echoed as the quasi-emperor's artifacts and the defenses upon his brow were cleaved asunder by Ling Yun. Employing a secret technique imparted by Ji Xian, he effortlessly breached the quasi-emperor's spiritual defenses. With a thrust, Ling Yun's finger pierced the quasi-emperor's brow. Did you think my consciousness could uncover all you desire? The quasi-emperor screamed. Ling Yun paid him no heed, delving within for quite some time until he discovered an exquisitely crafted jade talisman. This must be it, he exclaimed, joy illuminating his face as he shattered this small world and transmitted it to Ji Xian. Atop the mountain peak, Ji Xian opened his eyes, raising 2 fingers to grasp the jade talisman. A thread of divine thought penetrated, swiftly locating the coordinates of the assassin divine dynasty. Yet, this was not all he sought. Boom. At that moment, the surrounding space quaked violently. Ji Xian's overwhelming aura stirred countless small worlds, revealing themselves in a distant corner of the sky. Scurrying underground and hastily fleeing afar. Ji Xian smiled. Found you. Chapter 373. The soldiers enter the assassin divine dynasty master. How is it? Is it beneath the city? Ling Yun descended beside Ji Xian, inquiring earnestly. Not beneath, but I have found it. Ji Xian's gaze fixed upon a distant corner of the sky. Upon observing the shattered jade talisman in Ji Xian's hand, Ling Yun immediately realized he had been used as bait. Ji Xian smiled knowingly, patting Ling Yun's shoulder, and remarked, "Let us proceed. At least it did not require much effort." It turned out that the assassin divine dynasty's stronghold was in a state of constant flux. Utilizing profound spatial secret arts for concealment, their main base resided within a small world, traversing the cosmos, hidden among countless minor worlds. This was one of the reasons it was so challenging to detect. What the Emperor's steed provided was merely a location where it had previously lingered. This time, Ling Yun's intervention ostensibly startled the divine dynasty, compelling a change in the location of its main base. However, in reality, Ji Xian seized this fleeting moment. And with his mastery of spatial principles, he instantly pinpointed the true location of the divine dynasty. Boom. Ji Xian's eyes opened and closed. Chaotic mist billowed forth, transforming into 2 dragon-shaped beams of light shooting into the distance. The chaos took form, as sword energy surged forth, rapidly shattering numerous spatial restrictions. Puff, puff, puff. In the far distance, hidden small worlds were cleaved open, laid bare to view. Boom. The Emperor's steed manifested instantly, wielding a golden spear, leaping like a true dragon, charging towards the assassin divine dynasty. Thousands of troops followed closely, storming into the divine dynasty. Ji Xian took a single step and vanished at the edge of the sky. Subsequently, from the direction of the mountain city, a colossal golden palm descended, obscuring the sky and sun, imperial might overwhelming, instantly shattering the entire mountain range. Hundreds of thousands of lives within the city were extinguished in an instant. In the distant expanse, within the divine dynasty, palatial structures stood tall, predominantly constructed of white bones. The practitioners of the assassin divine dynasty delighted in collecting the corpses of various formidable beings, showcasing their illustrious achievements. Amidst the mountains, the blood of the fallen coalesced into rivers, cascading down like waterfalls. This was a realm steeped in murderous intent, resembling a hellish abyss. All around, bones lay scattered, blood rivers meandered, and immense corpses sprawled across the plains, reflecting against the blood moon, creating an eerie spectacle. Kill. In almost an instant, the practitioners of the assassin divine dynasty reacted, engaging in fierce combat with the troops of the Dao sect. The clashing of weapons, the cracking of bones, and the lamentations of death filled this world. The Emperor's steed and Ji Xian stood at the rear, observing all that transpired on the battlefield. My apologies, master. It is my incompetence that compelled you to personally breach the assassin divine dynasty. The Emperor's steed knelt in salute, expressing regret. Ji Xian waved his hand, signaling him to rise, assuring him that his contributions were invaluable and that there was no need for self-reproach. Among the disciples of the Dao sect, only Ling Yun had come. This journey was what he yearned for, to bathe in blood upon the battlefield, to clash with others, and to cultivate himself. As one who practiced the sword intent of life and death, he often traversed the brink of existence to better comprehend the great Dao. Clang. Suddenly, 2 sharp swords lunged towards Ling Yun, aimed at extinguishing him in an instant. Subsequently, 2 women clad in white descended at the center of the battlefield. Swords pointed at Ling Yun, engaging him in combat. It's you. No, it is you both. Upon discerning the identity of her visitor, Ling Yun was momentarily taken aback. The woman clad in white before her was affiliated with the Divine Dynasty and had previously participated in the siege of Qingguang City, targeting the disciples of the Dao sect. Initially, only one had arrived, but Ling Yun now realized that she was one of a pair of twins. Another twin sacred body, akin to those 2 little ones. Ji Xian observed the 2 women in the arena, his gaze penetrating and contemplative. To him, intricate threads of causality intertwined between Ling Yun and the 2 women, strongly indicating that their paths would cross significantly, not just today, but in the future as well. In the presence of peers such as the imperial sons and daughters, Ling Yun exhibited formidable prowess, standing resilient against 2 adversaries without yielding an inch. The battle progressed smoothly, with the Dao sect forces nearly overwhelming the assassins of the Divine Dynasty. The dynasty operated as a loosely organized band of mercenaries, each individual fighting solely for monetary gain. Faced with adversity, their zeal for combat waned, and thoughts of escape consumed them. The bloodshed intensified as the Dao sect's army swept across the Crimson Plains, annihilating all in their path and advancing towards the Bone Palace. Deep within the palace lay 5 coffins, 2 of which were already vacant. A voice, aged and crackling, echoed. Am I to be deceived that the Divine Dynasty has no one to stand against me? With a thunderous crash, a coffin lid was hurled into the air, shattering into fragments. An ancient crone, clad in a long robe, rose. Her visage was that of desiccated bones, devoid of any color. Yet, within her every movement surged the essence of a formidable ancestor of slaughter. She cast her gaze upon the two empty coffins with a sigh, lamenting the demise of the slaughtering emperor and the celestial slayer, questioning who had orchestrated such misfortune. No matter, she declared, today I awaken, and none shall leave unscathed. With a flicker of her shadowy eyes, she vanished from the bone palace and ventured outside. The moment the crone appeared, the entire microcosm trembled, and a legion of vengeful spirits emerged behind her, grotesque and fearsome. The fourth ancestor has come forth. Fourth ancestor, save us! The assassins cried in unison, their hearts trembling with dread. The crone's sunken eyes swiftly locked onto Ling Yun in the battleground. Ah, so it is a disciple of the Dao sect. I have seen you before. Is the force that has arrived from the Dao sect? It seems trouble has arisen in the northern realm, and the plans to assault the Dao sect have faltered. In that instant, a chilling sensation coursed through the back of Ling Yun's head, rendering his body rigid under the weight of an overwhelming murderous intent, as if he might shatter into pieces. A great emperor was making their move. He turned his gaze toward the aged crone standing at a distance, comprehending the gravity of the situation. To be locked by my murderous intent and yet not explode. How intriguing, the crone mused. Her interest piqued as she extended a colossal hand toward him. The hand loomed like a towering mountain, crushing through the heavens, and the frail, blood-starved crone's assault was terrifying enough to send shivers through the hearts of all present. Suddenly, a resounding boom echoed from the distance as the crone's outstretched hand detonated, divine blood splattering across the battlefield, scorching hot and piercing through the valiant soldiers engaged in combat below. With a few staggering steps, the crone stumbled, falling to the ground and clutching her severed arm, emitting a cry of anguish. Who dares? She exclaimed, abruptly realizing that a peerless powerhouse lay in ambush within the battlefield. Her withered eyes radiated a brilliant beam of light, sweeping across the entire arena. Suddenly, he caught sight of Ji Xian's figure, the emperor of the Dao sect. The old woman was momentarily startled, realizing that this was the very person who had just intervened to stop her. You dare invade my killer divine dynasty and destroy my century-old legacy. Do you comprehend the consequences? The old woman revealed her fury, the muscles in her face twitching, further emphasizing her age. Behind her loomed a sea of corpses, the ominous spectacle reflecting in the heavens. Even the blood moon above was obscured by its ominous glow. Ji Xian retorted, you, a mere supreme, dare to challenge me? With that, he took a step forward. A subtle movement elicited a resonance throughout the cosmos. The vast blood-red plain, stretching for millions of miles, instantly fissured with numerous cracks, resembling an immense abyss, unfathomably deep. An overwhelming stench of death surged forth from the ground, grotesque and terrifying. In the distance, towering clusters of skeletal palaces collapsed in rapid succession, transforming into ruins amidst a cacophony of thunderous sounds. The old woman, enraged, lamented the destruction of the skeletal hall, a creation forged by the ancestors of the killer divine dynasty through their collaborative efforts. Just as she prepared to issue a threat, Ji Xian stepped forward once more. Boom! In an instant, the heavens erupted, chaos engulfing the cosmos, as a colossal foot penetrated the clouds suspended in the sky. The golden foot radiated an overwhelming brilliance, tearing through the cloud cover like a pillar supporting the heavens, rendering the monumental mountains beneath it as insignificant as pebbles by the roadside. She was suppressed. The old woman's face paled in shock as Ji Xian's second step firmly locked onto her. Thunderous roars echoed as the gigantic foot, conjured from the manifestation of the law, descended, shattering the blood sea behind her and causing the old woman's frail body to be crushed into fragments. Her primordial spirit could not escape either, obliterated by the incoming golden light. Chapter 374. The Fall of the Ancestor. The ruin of the divine dynasty as the blood rain fell, an ancestor of the assassins fell, lifeless. The assassins present gazed in horror at Ji Xian, who stood behind the army. In just 2 steps, he had vanquished a supreme. A wave of despair surged within, causing many cultivators to shatter internally. Master. The 2 white-clad women engaged in battle with Ling Yun wept, witnessing the old woman's demise with their own eyes. They relinquished their entanglement with Ling Yun, momentarily using a forbidden artifact to stall him, and flew towards the old woman. Where do you think you're going? Ling Yun bellowed, his black hair swirling, resembling a formidable demon god, his bloodlust overwhelming, emanating a terrifying aura. He raised the yin yang sword, executing a breathtakingly lethal strike. These 2 women had previously ambushed them. They were a significant threat that could not be left alive. Boom. The intertwining black and white sword lights seemed capable of cleaving the heavens. The ground sank, and the feet of all battling cultivators sunk into the earth. They looked at Ling Yun in terror, infected by the monstrous killing intent emanating from him, involuntarily retreating and losing their will to fight. He was nothing short of a great demon. Yet just as Ling Yun was on the verge of victory, an even more potent killing intent confronted him. He looked ahead, only to discover 2 coffins. The coffins emitted a faint glow, shielding the two white-clad women behind them. You think you can slay the holy maiden of my divine dynasty, you wretched boy? A weary voice emerged from within, sounding frail and sickly, yet to Ling Yun's ears. It resonated like a devil's chant, a god of death whispering. Suddenly, a beam of sword light shot forth from the suspended ancient coffin, aimed directly at Ling Yun. The Emperor Knight swiftly intervened, swinging his spear in a fierce arc, neutralizing the sword light and sending the coffin hurtling away. With a resounding crash, the flying coffin erupted, and a frail old man emerged, standing protectively before the two women clad in white. He gazed at them with kindness and said, "You are the twin divine embryos cultivated by the divine dynasty, so do not venture recklessly in the future." The two women looked up, tears streaming down their faces. Clutching the remains of an elderly matron, they sobbed, "Second ancestor, our master is gone." The frail old man sighed, gently patting their heads, and replied, "No worries. The second ancestor shall avenge her." However, in the next moment, when he turned to confront the Golden Knight who had just clashed with him, he found the Emperor Knight retreating, sheathing his spear. "What is the meaning of this? Why do you withdraw from battle? Are you afraid?" The second ancestor coldly inquired. The Emperor Knight shook his head and replied, "My master has commanded that he wishes to conclude this war swiftly and does not want me to prolong the fight." "Master?" The second ancestor paused, then caught sight of Ji Xian beside the Emperor Knight, locking eyes with him. In an instant, the second ancestor felt a chill run down his spine, his hair standing on end as he gasped in realization. This man, his instincts, honed from years as an assassin, warned him of the imminent danger. This individual was not to be trifled with. He hastily roused the almost slumbering first ancestor. In contrast to the second ancestor, the first ancestor was tall and radiated a more stable aura. "Not simple, proceed with caution." Upon seeing Ji Xian, the first ancestor shook his head, as a demigod. He could not discern Ji Xian's true strength. The second ancestor, wide-eyed, asked, "If we join forces, what are our chances of victory?" The first ancestor replied, 50%, perhaps even lower. Assassins never engage in battles without a chance of success, but with the impending breach of their lineage, they had no choice but to face the threat head-on. "Who grants you such confidence in a 50% chance?" came Ji Xian's voice from afar, as he approached before the two assassination ancestors could devise their strategy. Boom! From the heavens, a colossal chaotic hand emerged, blotting out the sun and tearing through the sky. The pressure on the two assassination ancestors intensified. Even before the hand descended, they found it nearly impossible to breathe. Since ascending to the throne, no one had ever imposed such overwhelming weight upon them. The second ancestor struggled to rise, conjuring a small tower made of pure white bones, mere inches tall, from which blood flowed through dozens of windows. The diminutive tower swiftly expanded into a grand mountain, reaching toward the heavens, provoking an astonishing phenomenon. A crimson moon appeared overhead, as if a great demon was awakening. Boom! The chaotic hand collided with the bone tower, unleashing a tempest of energy that caused the void to collapse and the ground to sink nearly 100 feet. Crack! The surging chaotic power shattered the ancient tower, turning the pristine white bones into dust. As the imperial weapon was obliterated, the overwhelming pressure surged forth, instantly claiming the lives of many. How could this be possible? That was an imperial weapon. The second ancestor was struck with terror, retreating repeatedly, until he stumbled and fell into the ruins behind him. He was injured because the ancient tower was his testamentary weapon, intrinsically linked to his essence. With the weapon shattered, he too suffered grave wounds. Gazing upon the fractured imperial artifact, a thought surged in the minds of the two ancestors of slaughter. The eminent figure before them was a deity. A cultivator capable of shattering an imperial weapon must far surpass the practitioner who forged it. The two ancestors, on the verge of breaking through to the mythic realm, were now faced with a singular possibility. At this moment, Ji Xian had descended before them, towering and commanding as he spoke. "If you seek someone to blame, direct your ire towards the deceased god of slaughter. Were it not for him, neither your divine dynasty nor my Dao sect would have intersected. The annihilation that unfolds today is entirely of your own making." With that declaration, he struck down with a palm, and the second ancestor exploded in despair. His demise swift and unanticipated. In an instant, the first ancestor, accompanied by the two holy maidens, was propelled backwards, desperately attempting to evade Ji Xian's assault. "Old fool, do you think you can escape?" Ji Xian's hands moved gracefully, forming the shape of drawing a bow, and a translucent great bow, imbued with the essence of time, materialized in his grasp. Whoosh! An arrow, slicing through the air, shot forth, trailing a long silver tail, crossing vast plains and mountains in an instant, aimed at the first ancestor's rear. In a last-ditch effort, the first ancestor hurled the two holy maidens away, bracing himself to absorb the arrow alone. Thud! The silver arrow pierced his chest, yet not a drop of blood spilled forth. The flow of temporal essence coursed through him, and his body deteriorated at a visible rate. This acceleration of decay rendered his already fleeting lifespan even more ephemeral. Thud! As the arrow's feathers vanished, his once robust form was drained, nearing the state of a desiccated corpse. Drawing upon his longevity, he realized with shock that it was the force of time at play. The divine flame within his brow flickered weakly, dimming and brightening, on the verge of extinguishment. With a rip of the void, Ji Xian approached the first ancestor, placing a foot firmly upon his chest. To the first ancestor, Ji Xian's magnificent figure blotted out all light, standing tall like a mountain. A deity surveying the mortal realm from the heavens. Summoning his last ounce of strength, he implored, Ji Xian, might you spare our divine dynasty of assassins? Fellow cultivator, you must understand that in this realm, the unspeakable deeds must be undertaken by someone. We of the divine dynasty play such a role. People often perceive us as a malignant tumor, instigating chaos in the world. Yet this world embraces both yin and yang, and with great righteousness. There must be those of us who dwell in the shadows to counterbalance it. I can't embrace death, but the prodigies slumbering within my dynasty, our holy maidens, still require the opportunity to grow. Please spare them. Ji Xian shook his head. He understood better than anyone that wildfires cannot be extinguished. They will rise again with the spring breeze. Should he heed the words of this ancestor of slaughter today, the path for the disciples of the Dao sect would become ever more arduous. Seeing Ji Xian's refusal, the first ancestor's expression twisted into fury. His voice hoarse as he rasped. Do you not comprehend the principle of balance among all things? This world harbors both creation and destruction in the grand tapestry of existence. If all were to be leveled, what significance would there be in the relentless striving of all beings? At this juncture, Ji Xian spoke. Equilibrium. How absurd. A celestial sword materialized in his grasp, poised against the brow of the ancestral figure, as he proclaimed, the weak yearn for the illusion of balance, while the strong embody true harmony. With my invincibility, I am unmatched in this world, capable of sweeping away all opposition. The ancestral figure fell silent, his divine form towering, yet dwarfed by Ji Xian's imposing presence. Despite being a venerable force of eternal stature, having attained enlightenment for millions of years, he found his aura eclipsed by the youthful emperor. His eyes blinked, reflecting profound sorrow. With a swift stroke, Ji Xian pierced the ancestral figure's brow, igniting the flame of his primordial spirit upon the sword's tip. He ascended to the mountain's peak, surveying the royal army of the Dao sect below. With a flourish of his sleeve, the banner of the Dao sect unfurled majestically, its colors blotting out the grandeur of the divine court. Observing the state of the ancestral figure, he continued, thus, the divine court has been vanquished, revealing the vast chasm in strength. Do you feel a sense of inferiority? Indeed. You should. What we perceive, what we enact, where we tread, all compel others to retreat in trepidation. In this grand era, balance serves as a solace for the weak. In truth, where there are the weak, there exists conflict. The bloom of harmony emerges from the decay of the feeble, as we grow ever stronger beneath the shimmering starlight. We are life. We are evolution. We are the celestial court. Chapter 375. All teachings oppose. The establishment of the celestial court. The army of the Dao sect raised their swords in unison, their voices resonating throughout the cosmos, rending the heavens. The morale soared to celestial heights, as the sounds of dragons and phoenixes echoed, showering auspicious golden light. Every soldier, warrior, beast, and war machine was enveloped in a golden veil, as if forged from gold, impervious to destruction. In that moment, the entire demon-sealing domain began to tremble. Countless miniature worlds were shaken, and all sacred lands erupted with fervor. In this dark and unsightly realm, the descent of auspiciousness did not bode well for them. Yet, none dared approach the assassin divine court to investigate. To venture forth against a force guarded by several emperors was akin to courting death. Ji Xian, clad in white with flowing black hair, radiated a golden glow, the royal dragon energy surging within him. The 33 layers of golden heavens materialized, alongside the invincible human emperor and the resplendent mountains, emanating overwhelming might, as if the celestial emperor himself had descended to gaze upon eternity. Despair engulfed the practitioners of the assassin divine court, who cast down their weapons in surrender, pledging their loyalty to the celestial court. Yet, Ji Xian displayed a ruthless demeanor, sparing no one among them. Ultimately, all assassins were annihilated, their wails echoing through the heavens and the earth, as blood coalesced into a great river, merging into an ocean. My lord, should we not check on the young master? One of the imperial riders ventured. Ji Xian glanced towards Ling Yun, his eyes seemingly imbued with the essence of reincarnation. Aware of the recent events, 2 saintly maidens of the assassin divine court invoked secret arts to flee into the void, while Ling Yun pursued, vanishing into the depths of the forest. No need. One must forge their own path. Ji Xian gestured, signaling him to lead the army back to their sect. 3 years later, the Daoist army returned to Xian Prefecture, each settling into their own routines. Ji Xian also fell into silence, embarking on preparations to establish the celestial court. Xian Prefecture, particularly the Jinyun Mountain, was enveloped in tranquility, yet the outside world was in turmoil. The significant events occurring in the demon-sealing domain swiftly spread across the 9 heavens and 10 earths, astonishing countless cultivators as the Daoist emperor sought to establish the celestial court. Throughout antiquity and recent history, spanning millions of years, The Celestial Court and the Heavenly Sword Palace had emerged as formidable entities that instilled fear in all. The Emperor of Heaven, wielding a sword, waged wars across the realms, eliminating any who dared to claim supremacy, forcing the titans of every forbidden zone into submission. For the unruly and powerful, it was an exceedingly dark era. Both the ancient Celestial Court and the Heavenly Sword Palace loomed over them like imposing mountains, leaving the myriad powers gasping for breath. Only after their demise did various factions re-emerge, competing for supremacy and brilliance. Now, with Ji Xian aiming to establish the Celestial Court, everyone speculated whether he merely sought to elevate the Celestial Court as a grand sect or aimed to replicate the unification of his predecessors. Consequently, various powers secretly dispatched envoys to Xian Prefecture for reconnaissance. Upon their return, the reports they delivered plunged everyone into dismay. On Jinian Mountain, the Imperial Dragon energy soared into the heavens, and the momentum of the cosmos coalesced into a cascading river of stars. Moreover, a black celestial tablet hovered above the great river of the Tao, illuminating the starry sky and suppressing eternity. In light of previous occurrences, many powerful beings surmised that this celestial tablet was indeed the fabled list of deities. Before Ji Xian even declared his intentions, the powers had already conjectured his purpose, expressing their discontent. While they acknowledged his strength, the establishment of the Celestial Court was no trivial matter. Could he bear the weight of such consequences? Critics among the powerful voiced their concerns. Once this force was established, it would signify a trend towards unification across the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Yet, in this golden age, with various powers vying for dominance, who would willingly submit? Who would embrace unification? They sought to crush him in his cradle. He must not be allowed to grow. Only those who tread the path of immortality possess the power to govern the world. What right had Ji Xian to do so? In a fleeting moment, a multitude of formidable beings clandestinely condemned Ji Xian, yet after a half-day's deliberation, none dared to mobilize their forces for an assault. While they criticized him in the shadows, they also feared Ji Xian's might. The Northern Dipper and the Yuanming heavens had earned their reputations through bloodshed. Even they could not deny the strength of the Taoist sect. The Great Age was not yet concluded, and the Celestial Court could not be established. Ultimately, an ancient relic from a forbidden zone emerged to express his viewpoint. Shortly thereafter, he dispatched his death warriors to target the Taoist strongholds throughout the 9 heavens and 10 earths. In an instant, the Taoist sect suffered significant casualties. This was a long-dormant forbidden zone, reputed to be guarded by several emperors, possessing unfathomable strength. With one forbidden zone taking the lead in the campaign, the various powers grew restless, sending forth their strongest from sacred territories to confront the Taoist strongholds. Within the palace of the Heavenly Emperor, Ji Xian received a multitude of battle reports. He was neither surprised nor anxious about the events unfolding. One might even say it played directly into his hands. Thus, he could expand his influence with a sense of legitimacy, conquering and absorbing those forces into his domain. The following year, the Tao sect summoned its armies to launch a vigorous counteroffensive. The first to suffer was the sacred Great Sect of the 3,000 States, which faced a calamity of immense proportions. Within a mere 200 years of warfare, the territory of Xian province expanded from over 30 states to more than 70. A staggering pace indeed. While there are 3,000 states, most are desolate and uninhabited, scarcely conducive to cultivation. Among them, only a little over 100 states could establish influence and develop a foundation. The Tao sect, with the speed of lightning, seized vast expanses of land, trampling innumerable small and medium forces underfoot, claiming them as their own. Ultimately, an ancient emperor from a venerable clan intervened, rebuking Ji Xian for his reckless behavior. The sacred silver ancient emperor, who had once challenged Ji Xian during the establishment of the Heavenly Sword Pavilion, now stood up to voice his discontent from afar. Did he truly consider himself the master of this realm? In a world where the strong contend with the strong and the weak with the weak, what right did he have to confront these minor forces that even lacked emperors? Such defiance of the grand scheme. What sort of emperor is he? If he possesses courage, let him come to the sacred silver clan and face me in battle. Within the Heavenly Emperor's palace, Ji Xian received the news, a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. You deem your struggles and ambitions as aligning with the grand trend, while mine is opposing it. What audacity! He rose and walked out of the palace, manifesting a great bow in his hand, radiating intense warmth and exuding a formidable yang energy. Drawing the bow and knocking an arrow, he aimed at the horizon and released it. Instantly, thunder roared, and the heavens were cleaved by a blinding light. The divine arrow, entwined with azure dragons and flanked by black tigers, surged forth with chaotic power, shaking the fabric of time and space. This arrow was dazzling, akin to the dawn breaking through eternal darkness, soaring into the depths of the cosmos. On that day, all cultivators across the 3,000 states beheld this arrow and could not help but kneel, overwhelmed by the imperial might it exuded. With a resounding boom, the earth was rent asunder, mountains were obliterated, and the arrow descended in a location unknown, its explosive radiance illuminating the starry sky. It pierced through 4 or 5 imperial formations, erasing an entire force from the surface of the earth. just as the populace pondered where this arrow had landed. News emerged days later. The Sacred Silver Ancient Clan, with not a single soul left alive. Every being of the ancient clan perished beneath that arrow. The wretched Sacred Silver Ancient Emperor was reduced to countless fragments, save for a solitary head impaled atop a great mountain, its expression frozen in a horrific grimace, as if witnessing the most terrifying sight in existence. Silver blood spilled forth, coalescing into a vast sea, engulfing the ruins of the Sacred Silver Clan's territory. In one fell swoop, an arrow traversed countless miles, annihilating an entire lineage. The clamorous forces across the 3,000 states fell silent, no one daring to emerge. Following Ji Xian's arrow, the Dao sect's supremacy over the 3,000 states was undeniably cemented. Nevertheless, the iron hooves of the Dao sect's armies did not falter, as they, alongside the Reincarnation Immortal Palace and the Northern Dipper Divine Kingdom, continued their expansion. Those forces that dared to speak out were systematically crushed, with those led by emperors being obliterated by the imperial cavalry in a single thrust, while those without emperors fell within mere hours. The realm once again succumbed to chaos. Driven by Ji Xian's resolute determination to establish the Heavenly Court and retaliate against the insolent foes, those who dared to voice their dissent against the establishment of the Heavenly Court faced dire consequences. Even their ancestral graves were shattered, leading to the demise of several ancient elders, their divine blood staining the cosmos in a tragic finale. This catastrophe endured for an entire 2 millennia, during which the forces of the Dao sect swept through their adversaries with unparalleled might. Dao sect's Heavenly Dao Fortune Occupation Ratio, 58, ultimately. Under the watchful gaze of those filled with remorse, the Heavenly Court was founded. Upon the summit of Jinyan Mountain, Ji Xian ascended the divine platform. Seizing the essence of creation and self-proclaiming as the Heavenly Emperor, he summoned the Celestial Palace, once concealed within the clouds, no longer shrouded in secrecy. On that day, the heavens witnessed the leaping of the Qilin and the soaring of the true dragon, as ancient spirits manifested from the river of time, bowing in reverence to Ji Xian. This spectacle signified the acknowledgement of the heavens. The powerful were engulfed in sorrow. Despite their prolonged struggle, they could not alter the unfolding of destiny. The future of the Heavenly Court was indeed unstoppable. Chapter 376. The emergence of the ancient celestial task of apprenticeship refreshes with the establishment of the Heavenly Court. The world trembled. A cataclysm was imminent, as the future Heavenly Court would strike fiercely against its enemies, asserting dominance across the 9 heavens and 10 realms. Yet, just as one turmoil subsided, another arose. In the second year following the establishment of the Heavenly Court, the Northern Sea and the ancient divine dock trembled. Radiant celestial light piercing the heavens, as ancient progenitors appeared at the edge of the celestial expanse, venerating the sun and moon. Although these were mere phantoms, they nonetheless captured the attention of the powerful. The manifestation of these ancient progenitors heralded the impending emergence of something profoundly archaic. As anticipated, various formidable beings pieced together clues, unveiling an astonishing revelation. The ancient celestial was about to appear. All powerful entities were filled with exhilaration, for the ancient celestial was regarded as one of the most enigmatic realms in existence. Some asserted that it was one of the 10 realms, on par with the 3,000 states and the ancient divine dock. Others claimed it to be the 10th heaven above the 9 heavens, a passage to the celestial domain, harboring the secrets of ascension. Regardless, the arrival of the ancient celestial sent tremors through the minds of all leaders, prompting many ancient beings nearing the end of their lifespans to rise from their coffins, seeking the means to prolong their lives within the ancient celestial. In an instant, all powerful entities mobilized, searching for the entrance to the ancient celestial, professing their willingness to pay exorbitant prices for a chance to enter. Some cultivators even offered the equivalent of a quasi-celestial artifact, illustrating the fervor surrounding this opportunity. Naturally, the Bailu Academy became the focal point of attention, as many powerful beings had settled there, subtly anticipating such a possibility. However, the exorbitant bids from Emperor Shuhua deterred many. Consequently, several strong individuals harbored malicious intent, preparing to force their way in. Yet, upon invoking Ji Xian's name, these formidable beings quickly withered, reluctantly complying with the payment demands. That same year, seated within the Heavenly Emperor's palace, Ji Xian was roused by the system's notification. Ding! Apprentice task refresh. Location, Ancient Celestial. It has finally arrived. Ji Xian smiled. Currently, 2 entrances were available for selection, one deep within the Bailu Academy, and the other to the north of the Northern Sea. System, I ask you, which location is closer to my disciple, the Bailu Academy or north of the Northern Sea? Reply to host, north of the Northern Sea. How considerate. Thank you for the compliment, host. Fellow Taoist, let us converse. Outside the hall, an ancient voice resonated. Ji Xian vanished from his spot and reappeared outside the hall, discovering that the visitor was the great Emperor Kunping. Congratulations on establishing the Celestial Court, my dear friend, he greeted warmly. Just as the great Emperor Kunping was about to return the gesture, Ji Xian grasped his arm and said, "Oh, why the formalities? We are all family here." The great Emperor Kunping stroked his beard, his face flushed with joy. Ji Xian glanced at the ancient monk Moro behind him and jested. I share a long-standing friendship with Kunpeng. I never said you need not pay your respects. Moro gritted his teeth, feeling infuriated by Ji Xian's cheeky smile. The great emperor said, my friend, the ancient celestial realm has emerged. Should you require it, I can grant you passage. Ji Xian nodded. Indeed, that is my intention. He then made the necessary preparations and materialized in the home of Ao Tian at the foot of the mountain. Upon seeing Ji Xian, the family hurried to pay their respects. I want to go too. I want to go too. Ao Sheng shouted towards the sky. His interest was piqued after hearing Ji Xian's words. Ao Tian, reclining on a couch, crossed his legs and remarked, forget it. Only when you rectify your troublesome habit of wetting the bed will I allow you on the battlefield. Laughter erupted among the crowd. Ao Sheng's face turned crimson as he shrank back, utterly embarrassed. As his father Ao Tian had pointed out, he was the first dragon to still be wetting the bed at over 3,000 years old. Never mind, you all may go. The ancient celestial realm contains the ancestral grounds of true dragons. Perhaps there lie divine treasures awaiting you, Ji Xian declared. Ao Sheng joyfully shouted and made faces at Ao Tian, inciting Ao Tian's irritation, as he pretended to reach for his belt to discipline him. The ancient monk Moro commented, a loving father and a dutiful son. Thus, the group set forth on their journey. After traversing the tumultuous northern sea, they arrived at the northern reaches of the sea. Here lay a chaotic expanse, the entrance to the ancient celestial realm, currently in a dormant state, emanating a hazy celestial aura. The entrance resembled a heavenly gate, towering above the northern sea, reaching the heavens, transcending the clouds, and delving into the depths of the cosmos. This is the place. The great emperor Kunpeng pointed at the closed gate. How do we enter? Is there someone who can open the door for us? Ao Sheng inquired, his blue eyes blinking with curiosity, as it was his first time venturing far from home. Your grandfather will open it for you, the great emperor Kunpeng replied kindly. He took a liking to the young one, perhaps having discerned the ancient dragon blood within him, fostering a sense of affection for his talent. Hold on, my friend. A voice called from behind. Ji Xian and his companions turned to see several ancient emperors arriving with their clans, including some cultivators from the underworld mountain. What brings you here? The great emperor Kunpeng asked, a flicker of intent flashing in his weathered eyes. We also wish to enter the ancient celestial realm, spoke the leader of the ancient emperors. This being was an unparalleled entity of the demon race, bearing the bloodline of a Qilin, cloaked in long, dark fur, and adorned with a golden crown, exuding a noble presence. Seek passage elsewhere. Only those behind me may enter, the great emperor Kunpeng replied. As the powerful figures gazed towards the ethereal mist, they beheld several indistinct silhouettes standing tall, their true forms obscured and their presence imperceptible. The ancient Black Lion Emperor declared, Friend Kunpeng, I recognize your formidable strength, yet one must not act with reckless abandon. The opportunities of the immortal ancient belong to all beings across the 9 heavens and 10 earths. No one can claim them solely for themselves. We have come forth with our kin in grand procession. How can we return empty-handed? Upon finishing his words, several ancient emperors behind him stepped forward, forming an imposing wall that exuded a threatening aura. Indeed, Kunpeng, you cannot monopolize the immortal ancient. That would be unjust. This opportunity belongs to us all. Within the crowd, a few cultivators fanned the flames, brazenly shouting in support. Emperor Kunpeng immediately recognized them as cultivators from the underworld mountain, lurking in the crowd with ulterior motives, seeking to exploit the chaos to enter the immortal ancient. His gaze turned icy, and with a flash of divine light, he struck down upon them, their anguished cries echoing as they were annihilated. You, the ancient Black Lion Emperor was incensed, feeling his dignity affronted. Eliminating a few insignificant pests is hardly an issue, Emperor Kunpeng remarked coolly, his fierce gaze sweeping across every individual present. The assembled emperors felt the atmosphere darken, as though a colossal Kunpeng, spanning millions of miles, hovered above them, casting a shadow of imminent doom that threatened to harvest all life. You cannot, the ancient Black Lion Emperor attempted to continue, but was swiftly interrupted by Emperor Kunpeng. What? Do my words hold no weight? I have opened the northern sea, permitting the appearance of the emperors here. But that does not equate to relinquishment, Emperor Kunpeng asserted with great authority. Beads of sweat cascaded down the ancient Black Lion Emperor's brow, plopping into the black waters below. Suddenly resolute, he activated his speed, dashing towards the rift that opened like a gateway to the heavens. The ancient emperors moved in unison, unleashing their lethal strikes in an attempt to detain Emperor Kunpeng and gain entry into the immortal ancient. And over your heads, Emperor Kunpeng waved his sleeve, causing the celestial bodies to tremble. A massive Kunpeng wing swept across, transforming its feathers into sharp blades that rained down upon the emperors. With a series of piercing sounds, the rain of blades struck, penetrating the bodies of the emperors, forcing them to retreat. Yet, Emperor Kunpeng did not deliver a fatal blow. He was engaged in a profound state of cultivation, unable to harbor excessive murderous intent. Depart, he gestured, signaling for the ancient emperors to leave. Go. Without hesitation, the emperors complied, sweeping their sleeves as their kin transformed into divine lights, vanishing into the horizon. I did not permit your departure. Suddenly, Emperor Kunping called out to a group, sending forth divine light from his fingertips, immobilizing them. These individuals were cultivators from the underworld mountain, disguised as members of the demon clan, attempting to infiltrate the immortal ancient, but they ultimately fell prey to Emperor Kunping's keen scrutiny. Great Emperor, our faces turned pale, knowing what remaining here entails. With a series of violent bursts, blood flowers erupted as dozens of corpses plummeted into the northern sea, their lives extinguished. At that moment, the celestial gate was pushed open by Emperor Kunping, revealing a rift. Ji Xian and the others stepped inside, only to glance back at Kunping, who remained in place. Ji Xian inquired, will you not join us? There may be clues to the Sword Emperor within. The great Emperor Kunping chuckled softly, I shall not. With a resounding clang, the grand door closed, and the great Emperor Kunping vanished from the sight of the onlookers. Ji Xian seemed to sense something, lowering his head with a gentle sigh before leading the others deeper into the unknown. Chapter 377, The Land of Fusang. The ascension of Emperor Yi. Upon entering the celestial gate, Ji Xian and his companions traversed a tunnel woven from ethereal light. Cascades of radiant rain greeted them, resplendent and vivid, only to swiftly fade into the distance behind them. As they ventured deeper, an abyss of darkness enveloped them. Despite their rapid pace, the end remained elusive. A year passed, and the shimmering light began to dim, revealing faint glimpses of reality through the celestial tunnel. Are we finally on the brink of entering another realm? Ao Tian exclaimed, wiping his eyes and gazing around in excitement. Behind him, Ao Yu's eyes flickered with a hint of weariness, as memories of her past in the celestial era surfaced, tainted by shadows of bygone days. At last, the luminous rain vanished entirely, and Ji Xian and his companions arrived in a magnificent world. Towering mountains stretched endlessly, the sea of clouds vast and boundless, while ancient trees soared high, their canopies obscuring the heavens and reaching into the cosmos beyond. Great beasts roamed the forests, their roars powerful enough to reverberate through the heavens, capable of annihilating stars. In the distance, a winged serpent glided through the sea of clouds, its robust form occasionally disappearing into the mist, emerging and vanishing like a fleeting specter. It let out a thunderous cry that summoned multitudes of lightning to temper its body, a sign of its imminent transformation into a dragon. That serpent is on the verge of becoming an emperor, Ao Tian remarked in astonishment, encountering such a formidable creature upon their arrival. Ji Xian's eyes sparkled like lanterns as he surveyed the realm, feeling an ancient, untamed essence pulsating through this world. Compared to the 3,000 states and other regions, this place could undoubtedly be deemed a great wilderness, teeming with primordial beings long extinct elsewhere. He cradled Ao Tian and the others in his palm, continuing his flight. After a month, they stumbled upon a settlement reminiscent of ancient life. Near the seashore stood two towering Fusang divine trees, their branches lush and expansive, their crowns obscuring the sky, even transcending the cloud layers to stretch into the outer cosmos. Golden crows nested in the branches of the Fusang trees, their bodies wreathed in flames, appearing from a distance as blazing orbs of fire. One might even liken them to miniature suns. Witnessing this sight, Ji Xian contemplated deeply, conjuring another pair of great mulberry trees in his other hand. These trees had been acquired from the primordial forbidden zone, nourished by the essence of eternal life, maturing into an immortal tree, albeit of a slightly lower grade. The grade differs somewhat, Ji Xian murmured. The two mulberry trees he held were of imperial quality, while the grand trees by the seaside were celestial trees. Even he felt a sense of wonder, having been in this world for so long. Aside from rewards from the system, it was his first encounter with wild celestial trees. Suddenly, a powerful mental wave surged from afar, accompanied by a torrid heat. Ji Xian waved his hand, erecting a barrier against the probing thoughts. This was the Golden Crow clan's emperor sensing his presence, sending forth a mental inquiry as a test. Ji Xian had no intention of alarming the Golden Crow emperor. Instead, he transformed into a beam of celestial light and soared deeper into the great wilderness. Another month passed. On a clear morning, Ji Xian suddenly sensed a powerful surge of energy. In the distance, a vast divine presence ascended towards the heavens, intertwined with a profound, sorrowful lament. The creatures of the great wilderness were stirred, the cosmos resonating as if 1,000 armies were clashing against the firmament, tearing apart the earth. While countless heroic spirits wept in anguish, the sky was heavy with leaden clouds, and a ceaseless blue rain fell, the sun absent, and the atmosphere was pervaded by an overwhelming sense of mourning. An emperor was on the verge of transcending. Ji Xian felt a pang of shock. This was a sign that an emperor's lifespan was nearing its end, destined to return to the cosmos. He soared towards the source of the energy surge. It was a colossal tribal village of the barbaric clans, perched atop steep cliffs, characterized by an ancient architectural style, predominantly constructed from stone and animal hides. The tribe's people adorned themselves with beast bones, kneeling together in a unified direction, tears streaming down their faces, grieving deeply. In the direction they revered, a vast stone platform was visible, etched with intricate imperial runes. An elderly man, frail and white-haired, sat upon it, his upper body exposed, an aura of death surrounding him. His breath faint, as though he might pass at any moment. Ancient Luobangi, Tassalatama. Below, the tribespeople wept bitterly, chanting in obscure ancient tongues. Through the strength of his mental prowess, Ji Xian gleaned some context. This primitive tribe was known as the Yi clan, ruled by a formidable emperor, one of the most powerful clans in the Great Wilderness. Today, the life of their sovereign, Emperor Yi, was drawing to a close, seated in meditation upon the stone platform. Observing the aged visage of Emperor Yi, a wave of sorrow washed over Ji Xian. After witnessing so much, this was his first encounter with an emperor's transcendence. Reaching such heights in cultivation was no small feat. Emperors were extraordinary beings, yet in the end, it all amounted to nothing, indistinguishable from ordinary mortals. Ultimately merging back into a mound of earth and ash. The Yi people could only watch helplessly, unable to prevent or alter their fate. Not only they, but other barbaric tribes also arrived at the scene, maintaining a great distance, fearful to approach, lest they be ensnared by the laws of death and follow in transcendence. With little time left, the emperor yearned to know if immortals truly existed in this world. Where was eternal life? As the calamity of the great era unfolded, what would be the conclusion? Heavenly thunder rumbled, incessantly striking the frail body of Emperor Yi. His entire being radiated light, his life becoming luminous in its final moments. A fleeting reflection of what once was. Glimmers of light ascended, scattering in all directions. His emotions could not be classified as joy or sorrow. Rather, they embodied the fervent resolve of a dying elder, fixated on the existence of immortals. After millions of years of cultivation, at the twilight of his life, he was left questioning whether the very essence he had pursued throughout his existence was real. For a being of his caliber, this was an immense tragedy. Did immortals truly exist in this realm? Emperor Yi gazed upwards, fervently questioning the heavens, his eyes shimmering with clarity, seeking an answer beyond the cycle of life and death. This inquiry stirred deep sorrow among all present. Their great sovereign, having traversed a tumultuous journey, faced such a poignant conclusion. The multitude fell into silence, witnessing the decline of an unparalleled emperor, who transformed into a brilliant shower of light, gradually disintegrating. The celestial emperor Yi murmured, his gaze dimming, dissolving amidst the lightning. Unable to restrain himself, he let out a mournful howl towards the heavens. Suddenly, his form exploded into a searing light, soaring into the cosmos, vanishing into the depths of the universe. A thunderous roar echoed as heaven and earth shattered. The celestial Yi, now a divine radiance, was utterly obliterated. Beneath the vast expanse of the starry sky, it seemed as though a voice lingered, questioning, "Is there immortality in this world? Farewell, Lord Yi." In that moment, the Yi clan unleashed their pent-up emotions, wailing in despair. The emperor was their sky, their earth. Without his protection, their tribe would swiftly descend into oblivion. Indeed, mere moments after the fall of the Emperor Yi, figures approached from all directions, their greedy, fervent gazes fixated upon the Yi clan, unable to conceal their avarice. A tribe of formidable strength must harbor countless rare treasures. Humph, though my father has perished, my clan remains. A voice emerged from the crowd, a cold snort resonating through the air. A tall, robust youth with bronze skin stepped forward onto the stone platform. Young clan leader, do not approach. The power of the Emperor's transformation is perilous. An elder shouted, fearing for the safety of the young leader. The youth tore through the void, producing an ancient, magnificent bow, which hovered above his head, neutralizing the residual energies of the Emperor's transformation. It is the Emperor's bow? The elders of the clan gasped, subsequently prostrating themselves in reverence. This exquisite bow emanated an overwhelming force of ultimate power, its divine light so intense that it was blinding. From this day forth, I shall be the new emperor of the Yi clan. Those who defy my command shall be executed. The youth proclaimed with authority, holding the Yi Emperor's bow. He resembled a celestial deity. Merely standing there, he radiated an aura of inexorable majesty. Those lurking in the distance involuntarily shuddered, as if genuinely intimidated by him. Ding! At that moment, the system's notification chimed. A new disciple has been detected. Would you like to view the attribute panel? Yes. Ji Xiandao. Name, Dai. Gender, male. Age, 13. 268 years. Aptitude, SSS. Cultivation, early stage of the Great Saint Realm. Physique, primordial battle body. Chapter 378. The Prodigy Dai. Chaos arises. Primordial battle body. Those possessing this physique harbor the blood of a war god, born for battle, capable of harnessing the divine power of the wilderness to enhance combat prowess. A quintessential figure of the primitive wilderness, Ji Xiandao observed Dai from above, appraising him. Dai was muscular and towering, his upper body exposed, while his lower half was modestly draped in animal skins. Contrary to the common perception of primitive men as unkempt, Dai was strikingly handsome, with a square jaw and distinctly defined features, exuding a wild essence. On the stone platform, the Emperor's array flickered, radiating residual light. Dai stood aloft, bow in hand, declaring his succession to the throne, thus becoming the new emperor of the Yi clan. The subjects of the Yi clan chanted De Yi's name. Though the emperor had fallen, his son remained, providing these wild folk with a sense of reassurance. I do not consent. Suddenly, a youthful voice emerged from the rear of the crowd. Everyone turned to see a robust young man, bare-chested, with long black hair cascading down his shoulders, his face smeared with camouflage paint. Gu, what are you attempting? Are you plotting a rebellion? De Yi reprimanded coldly, his eyes piercing like those of a hawk, fixated on the figure of Gu at the back of the throng. The young man named Gu replied, the denizens of the great wilderness revere the divine and fear strength. The reason the Emperor of Humanity stands supreme is his unparalleled power, which compels all to look up to him. You not only lack the strength of the late Emperor Yi, but you have also failed to assert dominance even among our younger generation. You are unworthy. The elders of the Yi clan were incensed upon hearing this. Gu, who has granted you the audacity to reprimand the scion of the main line? You are merely a subordinate of our Yi clan. Well, why do you have to howl here? As they spoke, they seized the formidable bone clubs at their waists, preparing to strike Gu down. With the death of the Yi Emperor, there should be no distinction between main and branch lines in the great wilderness. Suddenly, several hooded elders appeared before Gu, shielding him from harm. The Yi clan elders, witnessing this, turned crimson with rage, shouting hoarsely, you lot, are you all conspiring to revolt together? The Yi Emperor's bow remains. Do you not fear being crushed by the extreme weapons? One hooded elder scoffed, enough of the charade. Who doesn't know that the late Yi Emperor suffered hidden injuries from his battle with the Golden Crow clan sovereign? It is a miracle he has survived this long, let alone devised any follow-up measures. Moreover, our presence today is due to our preparation of corresponding means. As he spoke, golden rays emanated from the wide sleeves of the hooded elder, exuding an overwhelming power. The Yi clan elders were taken aback. The great wilderness human race possessed only one extreme weapon, the Yi Emperor's bow. Where did this additional imperial weapon come from? We propose a duel among the youth. The victor shall be the new Yi Emperor. What say you? The hooded elder suggested nonchalantly. You impudent branch members, do not overstep your bounds. An elder of the Yi clan retorted, displeased. The Yi clan was a grand lineage, comprising main and branch lines under a distinctly hierarchical management system, where branch members endured relentless oppression from the main line. Now, with the fall of the Yi Emperor, it was evident that some sought to disrupt the old order and establish a new ruler. Boom. Suddenly, with a wave of his wide sleeve, the hooded elder unleashed a torrent of golden radiance, the extreme pressure radiating outward like a tsunami, obliterating a significant portion of the Yi clan structures. They, unwilling to be outdone, drew the Yi Emperor's bow. Though lacking an arrow, he wielded formidable force. He retaliated with his own extreme pressure, resulting in a fierce clash. The kneeling members of the Yi clan could not withstand the onslaught, some exploding into clouds of blood and scattering bone fragments across the ground. They, alarmed, realized that the opposing force wielded a far superior extreme pressure, as if a true sovereign had descended upon them. At that moment, his feet sank deep into the earth, threatening to give way beneath him. Suddenly, an invisible wave of force emanated from a certain direction, scattering the oppressive might of both parties. Dai, sensing something amiss, turned to gaze towards the source of the power, but found nothing there. The hooded elder was equally startled. In that fleeting moment, he felt the extreme power within his sleeve tremble uncontrollably. Was it merely an illusion? He cast his eyes towards the distant sea of clouds, a sense of foreboding creeping into his heart. Above the cloud sea, Jishuan sat cross-legged upon a cloud, surveying the Yi clan below. Lord Xian, shall we not aid them? Ao Sheng, seated beside him, gently tapped Jishuan's thigh. Patience, let us observe his capabilities, Jishuan replied with a smile. Observe his capabilities? Ao Tian was taken aback. He glanced at Dai's robust physique and wild aura, then at his own fair skin and handsome visage, realizing with a start. So, you have a penchant for this style. Your taste is truly unique. No, I cannot handle this. His tone was laced with a hint of regret. Beside him, Aouf furrowed her brow and could not help but pinch him at his waist, whispering, if you remain silent, no one will consider you a fool. Below, the two sides were locked in a stalemate. Just as they were about to unleash their ultimate forces to obliterate everything, Dai stepped forward and proclaimed, if there are any dissenters, stand forth. I shall engage in a one-on-one duel. The victor shall be king. Upon hearing this, the clansmen behind him displayed concern, fearing that Dai's youthful arrogance might lead him to defeat and the loss of his status as the Emperor of Humanity. Sensing their unease, Dai turned to offer them reassurance. When he faced the rebellious factions again, a fierce aura and an air of confidence enveloped him. Endowed with exceptional talent, he was renowned throughout the vast wilderness, having reached the great sage realm at just over 10,000 years of age, a gift that placed him above many. Very well. Let it be as you say. Ha ha ha. The Emperor of Humanity is indeed wise. This will save us considerable effort, the hooded elder remarked cynically. The young prodigies behind him smirked, looking down upon Dai as if he were already defeated. Dai's gaze swept across each individual before him. He understood that they had something substantial backing them. The mysterious imperial weapon hinted at their formidable support. However, he could not retreat in this battle. It was a matter of the Yi clan's dignity, the dignity of the Emperor of Humanity. With a determined stride, Dai walked onto the nearby arena, the dry earth crunching beneath his feet. On the opposite side, the young man named Gu readied himself, brandishing a bronze spear, exuding a chilling aura of battle. Suddenly, the void was torn asunder, and two streams of great sage-level power erupted, leaving behind a lingering shadow as they collided. Chapter 379. The barbaric ancient battle body. As the two great sages clashed, the heavens trembled and the earth quaked. Planets suspended in the low sky exploded one by one, transforming into a rain of meteors that cascaded down upon the mountains, creating a tremendous uproar. The ground shook violently, prompting onlookers to instinctively retreat several miles to avoid being caught in the wake of this overwhelming force. Gu, to fight me, you are not yet worthy. Dai transformed his palm into a sword, striking downward with formidable force, as a faint silhouette of a golden-winged roc manifested behind him, its wings unfurling and radiating a golden brilliance. With a powerful slash, the ground beneath him fractured dramatically. The battle had scarcely begun, yet Dai had already cleaved the arena beneath his feet. This day is unlike any other. I have undergone a transformation. Among the younger generation, I fear no one. Gu shouted, crossing his arms, a layer of golden light enveloping his body, emanating a scorching aura. With a sudden surge of strength, he repelled Dai. What a strange power. Dai was taken aback, sensing that the strength emanating from Gu was peculiar, seemingly not entirely his own. Nevertheless, emboldened by an indomitable spirit, he feared no deadly moves. With a resounding roar, he leapt into the air, his vigorous blood essence transforming into torrents that surged skyward. In an instant, numerous battle beasts manifested behind him, dragons trampling the ground, serpents diving into the depths of the sea, the vermilion bird striking fiercely, and the formidable Basha roaring. The battlefield erupted into chaos as Dai unleashed his blood essence, morphing into countless primordial fierce beasts, each vividly alive, exuding a terrifying majesty. Across the land, wherever the eye could see, the ground trembled and gaped open. Dai summoned forth an ancient horde of beasts, each one a formidable ally. Meanwhile, on the cloud-covered sea, Jixien nodded in acknowledgement of this combat style. He observed closely and noted that the blood of the war god within Dai was extraordinary, empowering him with the spirit of beasts, growing ever bolder with each clash. Gu found himself increasingly strained, sweat visibly trickling down his face. It was his first encounter in battle with this young clan leader. He knew of Dai's strength, but he had not anticipated such overwhelming prowess. Boom. At last, Dai extended his arms, transforming into a towering divine ape, descending with immense power. Gu's long hair was whipped about by the fierce winds, gritting his teeth. He summoned a shield, determined to withstand this blow. Crash! The abyss fell, akin to a racing star colliding with the earth, resulting in a thunderous explosion. The shockwave radiating from the battlefield reached an expanse of 100,000 miles. Had it not been for the elders activating a protective formation, this clash could have annihilated everyone present. With a thud, a figure was sent flying, crashing through over 10 mountains. Half of Gu's body was blasted away, blood spilling profusely. Gu, the traitor, had met his end. Dai transformed into a vermilion bird, enshrouded in crimson flames, charging 3,000 miles toward the defeated Gu. Am I truly unworthy of wielding the bow upon my back? Gu, filled with resentment, bellowed, his flesh suddenly bursting forth with blinding golden radiance, unleashing a wave of scorching heat. Caw! A fierce avian cry pierced the heavens, more akin to the roar of an enraged beast than the call of a bird. Soon, a golden bird appeared before the onlookers. Its wings spanned a width of 10,000 miles, engulfed in roaring flames, with 3 feet extending from its underbelly. The golden crow. Dai's heart sank, his expression darkening in fury. Gu, you have betrayed the great wilderness tribe and allied with the Golden Crow clan. If I do not slay you today, it would not suffice to assuage the wrath of the people. With that, he swept his hand, and the royal bow materialized in his grasp. The Golden Crow stands as one of the most esteemed races in the annals of ancient mythology, its mastery over the path of fire rendering it immensely powerful. The Golden Crow that surged forth from the ancient body was merely a manifestation of divine arts, not the true essence of the Golden Crow itself. Nevertheless, the explosive force of this Golden Crow was sufficient to obliterate the territory and populace of the Yi tribe. With a bow drawn like a full moon, the sinewy figure of Dai carved an elegant arc through the air. The synergy of man and bow exuded an imperceptible imperial aura. In an instant, the oppressive might of the ultimate path spread like a tempest, dimming the brilliance of all celestial bodies. Confronted by the younger generation, how dare you wield such overwhelming pressure? Do not blame this old man for his ruthlessness. The hooded elder, filled with ire, waved his sleeve, unleashing torrents of magma that surged forth with the same formidable pressure, seeking to prevent Dai from slaying the ancient figure. Yet, it was too late. The man and bow had melded with nature, and the bow and arrow shot forth in a flash, accompanied by a cacophony of thunder and wind. The sky resonated as if a colossal millstone was in motion. the resulting clamor causing all to cover their ears. With a sudden burst, the ascendant golden crow was pierced by the arrow, erupting into countless fragments. The ancient figure below was granted no chance to struggle, annihilated by the overwhelming divine might, reduced to nothingness. The main lineage of the E tribe has transgressed the rules. You must perish, De. The hooded elder roared, for the Ancient One was his beloved grandson, slain before his very eyes. De. Anchoring himself against the river of lava with the E Emperor's bow, his gaze frigid, retorted, where lies this notion of rule-breaking? Victory is victory, defeat is defeat. As the scion of the main lineage and the Emperor's own offspring, should I be beholden to your whims? With that, he drew back the bowstring, knocking another bone arrow, poised to strike down the hooded elder. De Yi's formidable presence instilled fear in all. Had he just ascended to power, only to initiate a massacre? The words of the Golden Crow's emperor rang true. You must not be allowed to leave today. You shall die. The hooded elder gritted his teeth, his tone laced with venomous intent towards De Yi. He removed his hood and robe, his desiccated form igniting in flames. With my flesh as a sacrifice, I shall awaken this imperial consciousness. Instantly, radiant threads of scorching light illuminated the void, forming the silhouette of a golden crow. Compared to the one that had emerged from the ancient figure, this golden crow was more robust and exuded an imperial grandeur. The consciousness of the emperor. My father has just fallen, and the emperor of the golden crow seeks to exploit this void to annihilate us all. De Yi's heart trembled. The lineage of the ancient figure had fallen completely under the dominion of the Golden Crow clan. In an instant, the mountains were engulfed in flames. As the emperor's consciousness transformed into a three-legged golden crow, its wings unfurling across an immeasurable expanse. Despair enveloped all within the E tribe. They understood well that the might of an emperor far surpassed that of any imperial weapon. Even a mere fragment of consciousness could achieve total domination, let alone De Yi, who wielded the E Emperor's bow yet had not ascended to the rank of emperor himself. De Yi felt overwhelmed. For cultivators of their caliber, the emergence of the emperor's consciousness bore no difference to the presence of the emperor himself. Boom. Just as the Golden Crow Emperor was poised to descend upon the E tribe and annihilate all, a terrifying surge of energy rippled through the distant clouds. All members of the E tribe, including De Yi, gazed upwards, eager to discern the unfolding event. In the next moment, they were confronted with a scene that would be etched in their memories forever. A hand of chaotic hue descended from the depths of the cosmos, snatching the Golden Crow, an embodiment of the great Emperor's spirit, as if it were a mere chick. With a crack, the neck of the Golden Crow was twisted, extinguishing all its flames and dimming its once bright eyes until it ultimately faded into nothingness, leaving only a lingering remnant in the air. De Yi's mouth fell agape, his eyes nearly bursting with disbelief. Even one as composed as he could not help but exclaim, what on earth? Above the boundless universe, brilliant flames illuminated the skies, the remnants of the Golden Crow Emperor's spirit still flickering, casting a golden hue across the heavens. All cultivators, including the rebellious barbarians and the E tribe, stood frozen, their hearts unsettled by the dissipating chaotic energy. Regaining his composure, De Yi reflected on his thoughts and turned to see Ji Xian's figure upon a distant cloud. Draped in white, standing majestically above the layers of clouds, surrounded by divine radiance and dragon energy, as if the heavenly emperor had descended. Is that another great emperor? He uttered in disbelief. Who is this person? Why does he choose to aid us? As a gentle breeze swept by, the figure in the distance vanished, reappearing before De Yi in an instant. Without hesitation, De Yi fell to his knees, exclaiming, I pay my respects to the great emperor of the human race. The barbarians, still in shock, were overwhelmed by an immense imperial presence, forcing them to kneel involuntarily. You, young man, are quite astute, Ji Xian remarked with a smile. De Yi's declaration of him as the great emperor of the human race was intended to intimidate those lurking in the shadows, coveting the E tribe. Though seemingly casual, his words bridged the distance between himself and Ji Xian. Ji Xian circled around him, pressing 2 fingers upon De Yi's form, remarking, indeed, you possess a robust physique. At this, Ao Tian, hidden within the void, was momentarily taken aback, casting a doubtful glance towards Ao Yu, as if to say, see, I was not mistaken. I am well aware of the caliber of this young master. Ao Yu rolled her eyes at him, cradling little Ao Sheng and stepping back to prevent the father and son from getting too close, lest the child be led astray. Ji Xian stated plainly, I shall be forthright. I see great potential in your bones, a fine candidate for martial training. Today, in my delight, I am willing to accept a disciple. What say you? De Yi, who had intended to express gratitude, found himself momentarily dumbfounded. The topic had shifted drastically and unexpectedly. Noticing De Yi's hesitation, Ji Xian added, should you choose to follow me, I can offer protection to your E tribe. At these words, De Yi immediately acquiesced, declaring, disciple De Yi pays respects to master. Yet, as he attempted to bow in reverence, he found himself unable to lift his head, as the overwhelming imperial might of this great emperor firmly restrained him. In that instant, De Yi comprehended that he had no choice in the matter. Ding. Meanwhile, a prompt from the system resonated. Congratulations to the host for successfully accepting a disciple. Reward. Supreme Celestial Technique, Celestial Martial Emperor Sutra. The Xianwu Emperor scriptures represent the pinnacle of martial arts mastery, encompassing a myriad of techniques and divine powers. Those who practice this art can proficiently wield all manner of weaponry known to the world. Ji Xian cast a glance at the motionless De Yi, observing that De Yi, being of the ancient battle physique, was inherently destined for combat. The convergence of the Xianwu Emperor scriptures and De Yi's essence was undeniably harmonious. I shall expend a moment of enlightenment on the Xianwu Emperor scriptures, Ji Xian declared. Enlightenment in progress. In an instant, profound martial truths surged into Ji Xian's mind. For him, the greatest advantage of this technique lay in its enhancement of his understanding of martial arts and the Tao. A vivid array of 18 weapons and myriad divine abilities flickered through his consciousness like a cinematic reel. Inspired, he aligned his index and middle fingers and pressed them to his brow. In that moment, a golden water curtain emerged behind him, with various weapons embedded within it. There were grand tripedal cauldrons, towering ancient pagodas, bronze swords shimmering with divine light, and halberds radiating golden brilliance. All these weapons were under Ji Xian's command. With but a thought, they could surge forth to vanquish foes, possessing the power to devastate the heavens and the earth. Each weapons might surpass that of imperial artifacts. In the future, while others engage in a simple attack, I shall unleash my ultimate techniques, Ji Xian mused. This divine ability was not part of the Xianwu Emperor scriptures, but was instead a creation born from his deepened comprehension of martial arts and the Tao. Let us call you weapon concealment, Ji Xian softly murmured as he gazed at the array of weapons shimmering in the water curtain, resembling a treasure trove. However, he soon sensed an anomaly. Why is it so easy to name this? Responding to the host, the system acknowledges that the host's understanding of the Tao has deepened, hence. I did not inquire of you. Ji Xian hastily dismissed the suddenly appearing interface, eager to prevent the system from continuing its discourse. In the next moment, he waved his hand to disperse the water curtain, deactivating the system and returning to reality. Very well, rise, Ji Xian addressed the kneeling barbarians. They stood, their emotions a tumultuous roller coaster, torn between excitement and fear. The pain of their fallen leader, the battle for the tribe's survival, and the emergence of a great emperor pledging to protect them all weighed heavily upon their hearts. Meanwhile, the rebellious barbarians behind them were drenched in cold sweat, their eyes fixated in trepidation upon the figure clad in white before them. On the ground, the hooded elder, having sacrificed his own flesh and blood to awaken the emperor's divine consciousness, had become a mere puddle of gore, leaving behind only a flickering soul flame suspended in the air. Which emperor dares to oppose the celestial sovereign of the Jinwu tribe? The hooded elder weakly inquired. His life was at its end, and his demise was imminent. Oh, a quasi-emperor dares to speak thus to me? It seems you have great confidence in that celestial sovereign of the Jinwu, Ji Xian replied. The hooded elder managed a feeble smile, stating, the Jinwu are a noble celestial race. A human emperor? Ha! Suddenly, an arrow of bone shot forth, piercing through his soul flame and extinguishing him utterly. Da Yi sheathed the emperor's bow and said, Master, you need not concern yourself with such trivial matters. Please, come inside. Following Da Yi's guidance, Ji Xian proceeded towards a spacious stone chamber. From that moment on, he need not worry, for as the human emperor, Da Yi would undoubtedly manage all affairs of the tribe. Spare us, O Emperor, cried the rebellious barbarians, kneeling in despair. Having lost their so-called ultimate means, they were utterly bereft of the means to contend with Da Yi. As darkness enveloped the sky, Da Yi stood bare-chested upon the stone platform, his bronze skin illuminated by the flames, casting a golden hue. His gaze was icy and devoid of emotion as he commanded, all those implicated in the rebellion today, from the individual to the entire clan behind them, shall be executed. The imperial decree fell upon the kneeling barbarians like a mountain of despair. They had never anticipated such ruthlessness from Da Yi, who intended to annihilate not only them, but also their wives and children. Even the citizens of the Yi tribe were astonished. The usually approachable young clan leader was unexpectedly merciless in his actions. Meanwhile, Ji Xian sat cross-legged on the cushion within the stone chamber, observing Da Yi's imposing figure with a nod of approval, signifying his satisfaction with the decision. As a sovereign, one must be concerned for the realm. Thus, there can be no mercy for any acts of rebellion. As the saying goes, compassion cannot govern an army. All dissenters must be quelled. Amidst the flames, Da Yi's form became increasingly indistinct. System, replicate Da Yi's essence, Ji Xian commanded. Replication in progress. Congratulations, host. You have acquired the most domineering power in the world, the Savage Divine Strength. Chapter 381, Savage Divine Strength, the embryonic form of the Taiji, Celestial Diagram. Fusion. Ji Xian instructed. Initiating fusion. As the system's voice faded, a tumult began within Ji Xian's body. An overwhelmingly tyrannical force manifested within the primordial womb, coursing through the trunk of the 10,000 paths divine tree, extending its branches and leaves towards his limbs, muscles, and bones. With a roar, the power surged throughout his body, causing Ji Xian to involuntarily gasp in shock. Even he, so strong, felt as though his very organs were being crushed. The sound of cracking bones echoed as his muscles spasmed, and his blood began to boil. The savage divine strength rapidly expanded, seeking to dominate every inch of Ji Xian's flesh and every drop of blood within him. Sweat poured from his pores, his white attire clinging to him as if soaked in water. Simultaneously, his skin flushed crimson, emanating waves of steam. With a grand gesture, Ji Xian laid down a magical array, isolating his stone chamber from the outside world. The power within him had reached a pinnacle, radiating an aura so fearsome that, if uncontained, it could obliterate the Yi tribe in an instant. Within him, the 10,000 Paths divine tree roared, its surface cloaked in a layer of blood energy, with golden and red hues intertwining. To guide the refinement of this power, Ji Xian summoned the golden Taiji circle, attempting to infuse the savage divine strength within. However, as soon as the red blood energy entered the Taiji circle, it nearly destabilized the diagram capable of accommodating myriad paths. Goodness, is it truly so formidable? Ji Xian exclaimed in astonishment. The primal divine force surged forth like a lion driven mad with rage, seemingly intent on shattering all constraints to claim dominion over its realm. Unwilling to coexist with any other power, a resounding boom echoed as the golden Tai Chi circle nearly fractured, a testament to the supremacy of the domain crafted by Ji Xian, capable of subduing even time and the 5 elements. Yet ultimately, through his astute techniques, the primal divine force was completely tamed and refined into a corner of the Tai Chi diagram. As the most tyrannical of powers, it embodied utmost rigidity and solar energy. Ji Xian infused it into the Yang instrument, embellished with the waters of Yin, achieving a harmonious balance of Yin within Yang. To his astonishment, the golden Tai Chi circle underwent a tremendous transformation, momentarily surpassing the limits of the supreme domain, evolving towards the celestial diagram. Ji Xian rejoiced, for this Tai Chi diagram was his foundation, the roots of all paths deeply embedded within it. In the end, Ji Xian transplanted the myriad divine tree onto it, with the mysterious fetus as a seed buried deep within the Tai Chi diagram. In an instant, he felt his life and soul transcend. The primal divine force not only strengthened his physical body, but also fortified his spirit. Seizing this opportunity, Ji Xian contemplated a breakthrough. He then summoned Da Yi and imparted the Celestial Martial Emperor Sutra to him. At that moment, as Da Yi received the sutra, his consciousness trembled violently, nearly shattering. The Yi clan possessed a fragmented celestial technique, handed down from ancient deities, regarded as a forbidden secret. To his astonishment, this newly acknowledged master directly bestowed upon him a celestial technique. Moreover, a profound energy surged into his brow, flowing down his spine towards the lower dantian. Without hesitation, he sat cross-legged before Ji Xian and began to refine it. Ji Xian, too, immersed himself in profound enlightenment, as silent as a boulder resting upon a hill. Time sped by swiftly. In the Tang Valley, the land of the rising sun, a resplendent palace stood atop the Fusang divine tree, magnificent and grand, resembling a mountain of gold. Surrounding it, golden crows circled, each radiant like the sun. Inside the palace, the golden crow emperor suddenly opened his eyes, fiery light erupting forth. Who dares to strike my divine consciousness? He bellowed, fury consuming him. Previously, he had seized the opportunity of the Yi emperor's ascension, leaving behind a fragment of divine consciousness to orchestrate plans within the Yi clan, aiming to usurp the Yi emperor's Bao and the clan's celestial treasures. However, just as he was on the brink of success, he was unexpectedly assaulted by a mysterious force. Infuriatingly, he hadn't even glimpsed the identity of the assailant. Father Emperor. It seems there is a disturbance within the Yi clan. As flickering flames illuminated the hall, several figures appeared, each adorned with a fiery crown, their crimson hair cascading over their shoulders. These were the 10 princes of the Golden Crow clan, immensely powerful, each at the quasi-emperor level. Their imposing stature radiated a volatile energy that emanated outward merely by standing. Our machinations within the Yi clan have also been thwarted. The instigator must be that young man named Da Yi. I glimpsed the shadow of the Yi emperor's Bao in the final moments, remarked the Golden Crow prince. The remaining brothers nodded, having planted the Golden Crow seed within a young man named Gu. This seed amalgamated the powers of the 10 brothers, and once unleashed, it could obliterate the entire Yi tribe. However, they unexpectedly faced defeat at the hands of the supreme weapon, the Yi emperor's Bao. There were foreign influences at play. The emperor suspected the involvement of other tribal sovereigns. The Golden Crow emperor spoke, and the Golden Crow prince stepped forward, cupping his hands in respect, and said, "Father, I find this quite improbable." "Why is that?" inquired the Golden Crow emperor. The prince replied, "Who would dare offend the Golden Crow clan for the sake of a mere Yi tribe? In such matters of power struggle, the appearance of a sovereign signifies a relentless vendetta. Few forces in the vast wilderness are commanded by sovereigns, and none would risk enmity with my Golden Crow clan over the Yi tribe. I believe it was the Yi emperor who left behind a means to restrain your divine essence, Father." The Golden Crow emperor pondered for a moment, then nodded, saying, "What you say holds merit. I was overly concerned. It seems that old Emperor is no ordinary figure. Managing to escape our combined assault and leaving behind a contingency is indeed remarkable. The Golden Crow Prince, elated by his father's acknowledgement, knelt and pledged, I shall lead the campaign against the tribe and reclaim their hidden treasures for you, father. The other 9 Golden Crows also knelt, beseeching to be part of the battle. The Golden Crow Emperor hesitated for a moment, but ultimately consented. He cautioned, though the tribe currently lacks a sovereign, do not be complacent. The power of the supreme royal weapon is formidable, and their archery skills are equally fearsome. Proceed with utmost caution. I shall lend you this royal weapon. In the name of the Golden Crow clan, reclaim the Emperor's bow. With that, he summoned a disc-shaped weapon from the void, radiating with fiery light, exuding an aura of supreme might, as deities roared and the sun and moon dimmed. The great sun divine wheel. The 10 princes' eyes sparkled with determination as they bowed in unison, declaring, we shall not disgrace our mission. After the 10 princes departed, a woman clad in a gauzy golden gown emerged from behind the Golden Crow throne. She possessed an almond-shaped face, her striking dark eyes gleamed, and her red hair cascaded to her waist. Her arms resembled delicate white lotus stems, and her jade-like legs moved gracefully beneath her skirt, teasingly visible. Are you not concerned about sending all 10 of our sons out at once? The Golden Crow Empress asked. The Golden Crow Emperor replied, there is no cause for concern. I have embedded a safeguard within the Great Sun Divine Wheel that, when activated, will equate to my full power strike, ensuring their safety. The Empress approached, playfully lifting the Emperor's chin with her finger, and smiled seductively. You are truly audacious to take such risks. 10 sons are hardly sufficient. If you aspire to establish a heavenly court, surely you need more heirs. The Golden Crow Emperor, already harboring a surge of frustration, found his ire redirected by the Empress's teasing. He pulled her closer, embracing her slender waist, and exclaimed, then let us bear 100. Chapter 382, Breakthrough and Ascendancy. Tales of the Ancient Immortals System opened the Disciples' Cultivation panel. After a cursory glance, Ji Xian's attention settled on the entries for Mo Yuling and Mo Yue. These two were indeed a handful. It was time to return their cultivation. Calculating, triggered a 15 million-fold return. The host can elevate 5 great Dao Divine platforms to perfection. Please make a selection. Since it was precisely 5, I shall choose the 5 elements, Ji Xian declared. Returning. Immediately, the 5 great Dao of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth ascended within Ji Xian's body, culminating in the attainment of divine status. Presently, there remained the realms of time, space, creation, and chaos. Progress was satisfactory, not too slow. Observing his cultivation advancement, he nodded in contentment. Let us settle the Gaji rewards as well, to avoid any future discrepancies. Ji Xian hastily added before the system vanished. Calculating. All rewards have been compressed into a single item. Congratulations to the host for acquiring the supreme celestial artifact, Xianming Destruction Bao X1. Instantaneously, a black bao materialized in Ji Xian's hands. At that moment, he faintly perceived an ancient battlefield emerging, filled with the roars of countless primordial deities and demons. The scenes of mountains of corpses and seas of blood, the annihilation of all beings, could be glimpsed through this bao. It was indeed a formidable weapon. What a splendid bao! Ji Xian stored it away. Before him, De Yi had awakened from his state of enlightenment. His eyes sparkled, and an aura of battle surged through him. In terms of demeanor, he no longer resembled a barbarian, but rather embodied a battle-hardened general. Thank you, Master, for imparting your teachings. He performed a deep bow. This time of enlightenment had spanned 3 years in the external world. Though brief, De Yi felt the gains surpassed those of his 1,000 years of solitary cultivation. Master, my clan will hold a funeral for my father. After it concludes, I shall host a banquet in your honor. De Yi proclaimed. Very well, you may arrange everything. Ji Xian waved his hand. De Yi turned to leave. But upon glancing back, he was utterly dumbfounded. Near the entrance, Ao Tian and the others lay on a blanket made of animal skins, snoring peacefully. What in the world? Da Yi shouted in shock. The sight of Ao Tian and his companions reminded him of the legendary true dragons. Master, what is this? He looked at Ji Xian, confusion written all over his face, his voice trembling. Ah, they are my family who accompanied me here. Pay them no mind. Focus on your own matters. Ji Xian replied nonchalantly. Yes. As he carefully made his way past Ao Tian and the others, he tiptoed out. Upon exiting, he gently closed the door, fearful of disturbing these remarkable beings. Phew. He exhaled deeply, striving to maintain his composure. If they truly are true dragons, then chaos would surely ensue in the great wilderness. Months later, after the funeral of the old Emperor concluded, De Yi hosted a banquet within his clan to honor Ji Xian. In the nocturnal clearing, the bonfire blazed, illuminating the starry sky. The barbaric folks sang and danced, with men, women, and children all participating in joyous revelry. Ji Xian and his companions gathered around a table, feasting on meat and drinking from large bowls. De Yi, gazing intently at Ao Tian's face, could not restrain himself from inquiring, Brother, are you truly a true dragon? Ao Tian replied, Is there any doubt? I am indeed the genuine article. He inhaled deeply, ultimately accepting this revelation. He remarked, the true dragon has long been absent from the great wilderness, yet people have not ceased their search for its traces. It is said that the four divine beasts, the true dragon, the white tiger, the phoenix, and the black tortoise, harbor secrets to immortality, leading many to covertly covet their descendants. You must exercise caution in your travels. Though Ao Tian was initially perplexed, he grasped some of the implications upon noticing Aoyu's troubled expression. Pray tell, what is the nature of your dispute with the Jinwu clan? Ji Xian interjected. Yi explained, this matter is ancient, tracing back to the legendary primordial era. In the past, the demon clan established a heavenly court, and after the heavenly emperor Di Jun ascended, he left behind a celestial artifact, the Kunlun mirror. The Jinwu clan inherited the ancient demon's heavenly court, seeking to impose oppressive rule over the tribes of the great wilderness. The mighty among humanity rose to resist. Standing firm against the Jinwu clan, the conflict endured for an indeterminate length of time, ultimately resulting in the fall of the powerful humans, the collapse of the demon clan's heavenly court, and the shattering of that celestial artifact into two pieces. The principal fragment remains under the control of the Jinwu clan in the present-day Tang Valley, while the smaller portion was forged into an imperial weapon by the future human powers, which is now the Yi Huang Bao in my possession. For many years, the Jinwu clan has not abandoned their desire to reclaim the Yi Huang Bao from the Yi clan and to remanufacture the celestial artifact. My apprentice suspects they aim to resurrect the ancient demon heavenly court and once again dominate the great wilderness. Upon hearing this, Ji Xian narrowed his eyes, already contemplating how to eliminate the Jinwu emperor. In this world, there could only be one heavenly court, and the Jinwu clan's ambitions conflicted with Ji Xian's own path. Thus, he deemed it necessary to act against them to clear his way. Well, there was no animosity before, but by establishing a heavenly court, you have thrust yourself into the inferno, Ji Xian mused. Master, I sense a foreboding into Yi's heart. Surely, my master does not intend to confront the Jinwu emperor directly, does he? He simply desires peace for the Yi clan until my ascension as emperor. The thought of warring against the Jinwu clan is beyond his imagination. Observing De Yi's confusion, Ao Tian cautioned, to be frank with you, we hail from the heavenly court. The master before you is also the heavenly emperor of our Dao sect. By the heavens, De Yi could not help but exclaim, quickly realizing the implication. Could it be that you come from another world? Indeed, Ji Xian affirmed, nodding while taking a bite of food. In that fleeting moment, a multitude of thoughts surged through De Yi's mind, filling him with anxiety for the future of the Yi clan. Surviving in this vast wilderness was already a formidable challenge. How could they endure if a multitude of outsiders were to invade? As the latter half of the night unfolded, the songs and dances gradually ceased, and tranquility enveloped the surroundings. Ao Tian, inebriated and swaying, rested his head on the table, letting out audible belches. The mingling scents of meat and wine filled the air, and the atmosphere grew increasingly warm. Observing the setting, Dai excused himself momentarily. Soon after, he returned with several voluptuous barbarian women, adorned in revealing attire and exuding an alluring demeanor. Master Ji Xian, Dai remarked, our Yi tribe may lack unique treasures, but our women are undeniably beautiful. Look for yourself. Ji Xian chuckled softly, shaking his head in refusal. At his level of cultivation, the carnal desires of men and women had long been extinguished by the principles of the Tao. Oh, where did these women come from? Ao Tian exclaimed, his voice rising as if he had caught a whiff of something enticing. Upon raising his head and spotting the barbarian beauties, he couldn't help but drool, exclaiming, ah, the exotic allure. What a delightful sight. This ancient realm has not disappointed. Nearby, Aou, witnessing this, felt a surge of irritation. Grabbing Ao Tian by the ear, she pulled him toward the house, whispering, come, we are going back inside. With a loud thud, the stone door was slammed shut. Moments later, the door swung open once again, revealing the slumbering Ao Sheng, whom Aou dragged out and unceremoniously kicked into a nearby mound of earth. Confused, Ao Sheng looked up but, disregarding everything, turned over and returned to sleep. As night deepened, all flames in the Yi tribe extinguished, the clamor subsided, and silence enveloped the surroundings. Meanwhile, deep within the great wilderness, 10 golden crows soared through the sky, leaving behind long trails of fire, akin to falling stars. As they advanced toward the Yi tribe. Chapter 383, The 10 Suns in the Sky. De Yi shoots the suns in the great wilderness, before dawn had fully broken. A silvery moon hung in the sky, casting a gentle glow through thin clouds. Suddenly, the earth trembled as a scorching wave swept through. Countless trees turned to ash in an instant, and moist marshlands were parched into barren ground. Countless beings perished in that moment, consumed by the flames that surged forth or suffocated by the overwhelming heat. From the horizon, 10 colossal golden crows approached, their wings spanning thousands of miles. Each with 3 legs beneath their bellies, their bodies ablaze with divine fire. They plummeted like meteors, breaking through the clouds, heading straight for the Yi tribe's domain. Wherever the golden crows passed, they brought forth an inferno, engulfing mountains and evaporating lakes. The dark night was transformed into a golden hue, the once bright moon dimmed, becoming a mere backdrop to the blazing sun. Everyone in the E tribe was stirred from their slumber, awakening to a foreboding sense of dread as they gazed at the half-lit sky. Why is it so bright so early? Ao Sheng emerged from the mound of earth, bleary-eyed, surveying the sky. No, it is the cultivators of the Golden Crow clan. Dai stepped out from the side, his robust physique bearing a grave expression. He turned to Ji Xian, who was drinking alone at the table, and said, "Master, I must take my leave." Ji Xian nodded in affirmation. Immediately, Dai leaped into the air, ascending to the mountain's peak, channeling his unique physique to transform into a golden-winged roc, soaring toward the approaching golden crows. In the shadows, Ji Xian extended a finger, sending a strand of divine consciousness into Dai Yi's being. On the other side, the 10 princes of the Jinwu clan gazed at the raging inferno behind them, a smirk of triumph gracing their lips. The 10th prince remarked, "The creatures of the vast wilderness are truly fragile. Those trees ignite effortlessly, far inferior to our divine Fusang tree." The 7th prince interjected, "Brother, your comparison is somewhat inappropriate. The Fusang tree has existed since the ancient era, incomparable to these mere saplings that have barely endured a few centuries." The Jinwu crown prince nodded in agreement, stating, "Indeed. The Fusang tree has existed for tens of millions of years, witnessing the rise and fall of the ancient heavenly court, allowing our Jinwu clan to endure to this day. Today, we must prevail, reclaim the bow of Emperor Yi, assist our father in reforging the celestial artifact, and revive the ancient heavenly court of the demon clan." He then cautioned, "Brothers, be wary of the great Yi of the Yi clan. It is said that he possesses blood of extraordinary origins, with combat prowess unparalleled, finding it as effortless as drinking water to engage in battles beyond his level." The other princes nodded in acknowledgement of their elder brother's counsel, yet the arrogance on their faces remained unabated, clearly dismissing the threat posed by Dai. With their supreme weapons in hand, 10 against 1, and with their cultivation levels suppressing the odds, what was there to fear? Suddenly, from the distant sky, a piercing arrow shot forth, imbued with a hint of supreme power, hurtling towards the 10 princes of the Jinwu clan. Boom! A tremendous force erupted before them, flattening mountains within a radius of thousands of miles, erasing them from the surface of the earth. Ahead, Dai, wielding the bow of Emperor Yi, his eyes gleaming like golden lanterns, glared coldly at the intruding Jinwu. The previous arrow had been a feint, meant to halt the approach of the Jinwu. Little did he expect that the 10 princes would come personally. What merit did the Yi clan possess to withstand such a confrontation? Dai uttered. The 10 princes of Jinwu steadied themselves, using the divine sun wheel to counter the formidable power. One of the princes shouted, "Hand over the bow of Emperor Yi if you know what is good for you, lest we descend upon the Yi clan personally and annihilate every last one of you." Dai scoffed, "I think not. My father's funeral is not yet complete, and I happen to be short a few dishes. A few roasted Jinwu would make for a perfect addition." At this, the Jinwu princes were incensed. As noble beings of the celestial lineage, how could they endure such humiliation? "You seek death." The youngest among them charged forward, revealing his true form, his wings ablaze as he struck at Dai. Boom! Instantly, it was as if a burning mountain descended from the heavens, the Jinwu's expansive wings indistinguishable from a floating divine mountain. Humph! Dai let out a cold snort, maintaining his stance, retaliating in the form of a golden-winged roc. The two ancient divine beasts clashed, their wings striking with ferocity. From above, it appeared as though two surging waves collided, engulfing the entire sky. With a thunderous roar, Dai, using his robust physique, sent the Jinwu prince flying, then transformed into a divine ape, seizing the prince's wings with both hands and tearing with all his might. The sound of ripping flesh echoed, golden divine blood splattering forth, as Dai held aloft two bloodied wings, delivering a powerful kick that sent the 10th prince of Jinwu sailing through the air. "Ah!" The anguished cries echoed through the heavens and the earth as the wingless golden crow, the 10th prince, plummeted straight towards the ground, his massive form shattering a floating continent into fragments. 10th brother. The remaining golden crows were struck with terror, hastily enveloping the injured prince with their supreme imperial weapons. How could he be so powerful? He suppresses our noble golden crow bodies with an anomaly birthed from his vital essence. One of the princes exclaimed. This scene unfolded with astonishing abruptness. The strength of Dai Yi's vital essence was terrifying, able to conjure a deceptive phenomenon that contended with their tangible forms. What an extraordinary transformation. Dai clenched his fists, astonished by his own enhancement. He had clashed with the golden crows numerous times before, relying on the archery techniques of his clan to gain a modicum of advantage. Yet today he had achieved absolute suppression solely through his vital essence. This was not merely a superficial change in cultivation. He distinctly felt a profound metamorphosis from within. It was the teachings and martial imprints passed down by his master. Recalling the doctrine imparted by Ji Xian, Dai comprehended everything. Over the course of 3 years, he had refined an imprint from within Ji Xian, resulting in a qualitative leap in power. Let us attack together. The other Golden Crow princes raised their imperial weapons overhead, flapping their wings to seize Dai, intent on tearing him to shreds. With a furious roar, Dai ignited with battle fervor, swiftly channeling the immortal martial Emperor Sutra, his blood surging with accelerated flow, his skin taking on a crimson hue. Boom! In an instant, 100 ancient beast kings manifested behind him, roaring like awakened deities, their cries causing the stars of the cosmos to tremble. The battle raged for several days, and Dai grew ever more valiant, facing 10 opponents and gaining the upper hand against the onslaught of the 10 quasi-emperor Golden Crows. Among them, the stronger ones were drenched in sweat, while the weaker ones had been sent flying, their bodies severely battered. We must summon the imperial weapons to slay him. We cannot delay any longer. This young man is extraordinarily formidable, the Golden Crow Crown Prince declared. The other princes nodded in agreement, the prolonged conflict having left them significantly wounded, and they had long abandoned their initial underestimation of Dai. Great Sun Divine Wheel. The 10 Golden Crows converged, orbiting around a resplendent divine ring. Together with the ring, they transformed into 10 suns suspended in the sky, radiating intense heat. Waves of scorching warmth surged downwards towards the earth. In an instant, vast stretches of land were reduced to ashes, verdant mountains charred into blackened rock. Countless beings cried out in despair, and Dai felt a deep pang of sorrow. This area was near the territory of the Yi clan, and some of the weaker beings under their protection had already perished in the calamity. You insignificant humans of the great wilderness, mere livestock eons ago, our Golden Crow clan decrees your demise. What right do you have to live? The Golden Crow princes bellowed. The waves of heat did not abate, swiftly spreading to the far reaches, extending tens of thousands of miles. How dare you wreak havoc upon the great wilderness? Dai roared to the heavens, his black hair whipping about wildly. With a grand gesture, the Yi Emperor bow manifested in his grasp. Buzz, the bowstring vibrated, emitting a soft chime, as if the will of the Yi Emperor still lingered upon it, ready to aid Dai in vanquishing his foes. Dai, the bow and arrow was knocked, the heavens dimming as an overwhelming imperial might radiated outward from Dai's position. At this moment, it seemed as though a mighty emperor had descended, wielding an unparalleled divine bow. As the emperor of humanity, I shall vanquish countless foes. With a resounding crack, an arrow was released, causing the void to collapse, its robust silver radiance piercing through the heavens and earth, while tumultuous waves of energy shattered the firmament. This singular arrow, loosed by the illustrious Dai, surpassed all of antiquity. His mastery of the imperial weapon, honed through the cultivation of the celestial martial emperor scripture, eclipsed that of any cultivator of his rank. With a thunderous roar, the silver dragon arrow penetrated the scorching layers of the great sun divine wheel, shattering the solar disk with ease. The 10 Golden Crows faltered momentarily, as they had yet to ascend to imperial status. They were utterly incapable of fully wielding such a divine weapon. Scatter quickly. The arrow is not finished, cried the prince of the Golden Crows. Yet, fate was not on his side. The lethal arrow's primary target was none other than him, the prince, before the deadly strike could draw near. His lower body began to disintegrate. Brother! The other Golden Crow princes shouted in alarm, but as they approached, they were forcefully repelled by an unseen power. With a sickening thud, the silver dragon arrow pierced through the heart of the Golden Crow prince, leaving a gaping wound in its wake. In a resounding explosion, both his corporeal form and spirit were obliterated by the overwhelming might of the divine. Chapter 384. Bloodshed with the fall of the Golden Crow prince. Every drop of blood that splattered from his lifeless body resembled a meteor ablaze, tearing through the clouds and ravaging the earth. Brother! The remaining princes cried out, their wings flapping desperately as they sought to grasp the radiant rain cascading from the sky, hoping to salvage something from the calamity. Yet, what had transpired could not be undone. The Golden Crow prince lay slain before them, pierced through the chest by Dai's arrow. The brothers' expressions turned somber. None had anticipated that the most powerful eldest prince would be the first to fall. Unleash the imperial weapon. Avenge our brother, the youngest prince bellowed, his flames surging with greater intensity as he succumbed to a state of fury. Descending from the heights, Dai leveled his gaze at the remaining Golden Crows and coldly declared, there is no need for lamentation. I shall send you to reunite with him. With that, he assumed the stance of drawing a bow, a crystalline white bone arrow manifesting in his grasp. This arrow, a legacy from his father, was crafted from the bones of a ferocious beast that had attained enlightenment, possessing an unparalleled hardness capable of inflicting harm even upon an emperor, if wielded correctly. In the distance, the Golden Crow princes once again summoned the great sun divine wheel. The 10 radiant suns soared across the sky. Although their prince had perished, the resonance of his essence lingered, still capable of unleashing a formidable strike. You foolish beasts, Dai remarked, your minds have become utterly befuddled. How could the techniques that failed against me pose any threat now, unless a great emperor wields them against me? Upon finishing his retort, he drew the bowstring once more, unleashing another arrow of cataclysmic proportions, its thunderous eruption radiating waves potent enough to obliterate the very heavens. Yet this time, the white bone arrow did not breach the light circle of the great sun divine wheel. Instead, it was stymied by a mysterious force, suspended in midair, unable to advance. What? Dai sensed an anomaly. With one less golden crow, the power of the imperial weapon should have diminished. Why then was this arrow held at bay? A sense of foreboding washed over him, and in the next instant, he transformed into a soaring dragon, racing towards the clouds. In that very moment, a radiant beam of divine light surged forth from the sun god wheel, striking the location where Dai had vanished. Instantly, the land for hundreds of thousands of miles sank, as flames more potent than 10 golden crows erupted, engulfing the terrain. Was this the Emperor's stratagem? Dai's expression shifted. Utterly unprepared for the Golden Crow Emperor's hidden ploy within this imperial weapon, designed to protect the prince at a critical juncture and annihilate his foes. Ha ha. The laughter of the 10th prince of the Golden Crow echoed across the distant skies. The heavens seek to obliterate your clan. My father has infused a murderous intent into the imperial artifact. What can a mere great sage like you do against us? Today, your life shall be sacrificed to honor my elder brother's spirit in the celestial realm, and the blood and flesh of your entire clan shall accompany him to the afterlife. The princes roared in unison, soaring around the sun god wheel, wielding the emperor's murderous intent as their foundation, pressing down with overwhelming force. In an instant, a colossal shadow of a golden crow emerged, its head adorned with golden feathers and its tail trailing radiant hues, manifesting as a golden crow yet retaining a hint of peacock allure. Under the immense force, the cloud sea surrounding Dai erupted violently, the oncoming gusts obliterating his presence. He himself shed the vigor of a dragon, hurtling backward at great speed. Yet, no matter his haste, he could not rival the emperor. The Golden Crow princes, harnessing the emperor's murderous intent, descended like 10 suns, scorching all in their path. At a crucial moment, a stream of 7-colored light burst forth from Dai's being, transforming into a celestial warrior clad in white, charging towards the murderous intent of the Golden Crow Emperor. Who could this be? Could it be another human emperor? Upon seeing the white-clad warrior, the 9 princes felt a chill run down their spines, their wings stiffening as they neared exhaustion. Do not panic, like the phantom of our father within the divine wheel. This is merely an apparition. As fellow emperors, our Golden Crow clan shall not yield to others. Let us attack. The second prince of the Golden Crow reassured his restless brothers. However, as the Golden Crow born of the emperor's murderous intent approached the white-clad warrior, its flames flickered and dimmed, as if doused by a bucket of cold water. What is this? Does this person possess a flame that surpasses that of the Golden Crow clan? The 10th prince exclaimed in astonishment. Impossible. Our Golden Crow clan reigns supreme among flames. How could we falter on the path of fire? Denied another prince. Yet, the harsh reality loomed. The flames of the Golden Crow clan were extinguished by the white-clad warrior's mere gesture. The imperial murderous intent swept away like fallen leaves in a gentle breeze. Dai, observing beneath his master, was taken aback, realizing that Ji Xian had been watching over him all along. Ji Xian's apparition stood amidst heaven and earth, sweeping away the Golden Crow's murderous intent with a wave of his hand. As his long sleeves fluttered, the stars and moon shifted, and the mountains and rivers rearranged. With a soft sound, the apparition vanished. The appearance and disappearance of the white figure transpired in the blink of an eye. Encouraged, Dai surged upward through the clouds, drawing the royal bow to launch an assault against the Golden Crow princes. With a crack, the bowstring resonated, and the 7th prince's avian head was pierced by a bone arrow, shattering into countless fragments, his essence obliterated. 7th brother. As the 10th prince lunged to retrieve the remains of the 7th prince, he was forcibly pulled away by his other brothers. Retreat quickly. Deliver the news of the great emperor aiding the human clan back to father. The 2nd prince, harnessing the power of the sun god wheel, swiftly departed towards the horizon with several princes. In his estimation, the great emperor of the human race must be observing them from some hidden vantage point, ready to strike with lethal force when the moment called for it. Leave. Can you truly escape? Dai relentlessly pursued, transforming his arms into a swift and graceful Qing Yuan bird, propelling himself forward with astonishing speed. With a resounding crack, the bowstring reverberated, unleashing another awe-inspiring arrow that tore through the void, imbued with boundless divine might, aimed at the fleeing Golden Crow prince. With devastating force, this arrow surpassed the previous 2, shattering the defenses of the sun god wheel and piercing through the Golden Crow princes like a string of beads. Dai, the bone arrow detonated, leading to the demise of the 6th prince and the 8th prince. How could this be? Why can our sun god will not withstand him? The 10th prince exclaimed in desperation, his feathers damp with sweat as he sensed that Dai's next target was none other than himself. There exists within him a force, a certain momentum, that enables him to wield the imperial weapon far more adeptly than our 2nd prince. What could possibly endow a great sage with such mastery over an imperial weapon? A magical artifact? An array? A secret treasure? Or perhaps a profound technique? As the Golden Crow prince pondered, another arrow of light soared from behind. 10th brother, be careful. The 9th prince instinctively pushed the dazed 10th prince aside. But in doing so, he exposed himself to the oncoming arrow. 9th brother. The 10th prince cried out, powerless to intervene. witnessing the tragic demise of his brother unfold before his very eyes. After several days of battle, half of the 10 brothers had perished. Within a chamber of the Fusang Divine Tree, the Golden Crow Emperor abruptly sat up from his bed, forcefully pushing away the Golden Crow Empress who clung to him. Your Majesty, why have you risen so abruptly? The battle is not yet concluded. What has transpired? The Golden Crow Empress inquired, her serpentine waist twisting as she approached. Prepared for further combat. Half of my children have fallen. The Golden Crow Emperor lamented, pounding his chest in despair, tears nearly spilling from his eyes. What? The Golden Crow Empress gasped in shock, her fears having materialized. This cannot stand. I must personally rescue them. The human clan surely harbors a great emperor in hiding. And it is he who has struck against our children. I shall personally slay him. The Golden Crow Emperor declared, rising to depart. Your Majesty, wait. The Golden Crow Empress grasped his arm, articulating her thoughts to calm him. Sighing heavily, the Golden Crow Emperor recognized the wisdom in her words. The distance from Tang Valley to the great wilderness of the Yi clan was vast. Even if he set off immediately, it would take a month to arrive. The murderous intent within the Sun God Wheel, from its activation to its erasure, would transpire in less than a moment. By the time he reached there, his sons would have long since perished. Ultimately, he heeded the counsel of the Golden Crow Empress, gathering strength for a grand offensive, preparing to march into the great wilderness. If my children perish, not a single one of the human clan shall survive. Even the old, the weak, and the women and children shall face death. The Golden Crow Emperor clenched his jaw, his flames intensifying fiercely. I am about to pay a visit to an old friend, embarking on a journey to the vast wilderness to meet with the great emperor who shelters the human race. Chapter 385. The 10 Suns Fall in the Boundless Cosmos. Several Golden Crow princes maneuvered the sun chariot, hastily fleeing. How infuriating. My elder brothers have departed just like that. The great wilderness E clan has slain 5 of my brethren. The Golden Crow clan shall not coexist peacefully with you. The 10th prince wiped away his tears, his tone steeped in resentment. The 2nd prince of the Golden Crow lamented, alas, a storm is brewing. The strength of the great E this time is exceedingly abnormal. They surely have formidable allies aiding them. It is quite possible that old adversaries are behind this. The Golden Crow clan is bound to encounter significant troubles. Transforming into his divine form, the 5th prince cursed, we must return to regroup and avenge our fallen brothers. I want every human in this world to perish. Suddenly, a spectral arrow appeared silently, piercing through the 5th prince's head, instantly obliterating his primordial spirit. 5th brother. The 2nd prince was struck with horror, disregarding all else. He channeled his entire power into speed and fled rapidly. He could not help but marvel at the E clan's archery skills, which proved to be a lethal threat to their kind, the celestial avians. Flee. Do you think you can escape? The voice of the great E resonated from behind. Transforming into a golden roar, his form as massive as a mountain, leaping amidst the planets in pursuit. Great E, do not go too far. All 10 of us brothers are sons of emperors. By slaughtering us, your clan will also face the threat of extinction. Can you withstand the wrath of the celestial court of the demon race? The 4th prince retorted angrily, turning back. Drawing his bow, the great E aimed an arrow at him, responding, my human race is known for its integrity, yet there are those 3-legged aberrations always seeking conflict, wishing to annihilate us. As an emperor of the great wilderness human race, I must retaliate. With a crack, a bone arrow was unleashed, a fierce wind surged, piercing through hundreds of planets, nailing the 4th prince's body to a scorching star, followed by a tremendous explosion. Despair engulfed the 10th prince of the Golden Crow. With only 3 of the 10 brothers remaining, this day was destined to be one of the most humiliating in the history of the Golden Crow clan. You shall pay for this. The 2nd prince howled to the heavens, yet found himself powerless, forced to flee, filled with astonishment and rage. He was incensed that the great E had demeaned their noble Golden Crow into mere 3-legged mongrels. With only 3 of us left, you relentlessly pursue us. One day, you shall pay for your arrogance and greed. The 3rd prince shouted in fury. Another arrow from the great E was loosed. The universe shattered, galaxies trembled. And the 3rd prince fell, silenced before he could utter a word. As the 10th prince opened his mouth, he was swiftly silenced by the 2nd prince. He conveyed to the 10th prince, through thought, do not speak. Whoever utters a word shall meet death. Hold on just a moment longer. We are nearing the demon territory. And assistance will surely arrive. The 10th prince nodded in understanding, remaining silent. However, in the next instant, the great Yi's bone arrow was aimed at him once more. How outrageous. I did not even utter a word. The 10th prince cursed vehemently, panic rising as he glanced around, realizing that only he and his elder brother remained. A chill crept up his neck, freezing him in place. With a crack, the sound of the bowstring vibrating pierced through the starry realm, resonating within the 10th prince's heart like the tolling of a death knell. That unparalleled arrow had indeed arrived, whistling through the air like a silver serpent charged with electricity. The skeletal arrow swiftly approaching for the kill. A chill gripped the 10th prince's heart, and he cried out in despair, it's over. Yet, in that critical moment, the 2nd prince yanked him away, hurling him alongside the sun god wheel. What are you doing, 2nd brother? The 10th prince exclaimed, his face ashen. The second prince declared, my brother, you carry the noble blood of the golden crow within you, destined to become the sun that gazes upon all realms. The demon race requires an emperor and a son. With our 9 brothers fallen, you must survive as the beacon of hope. As he spoke, his body was pierced by the skeletal arrow, exploding alongside a multitude of planets, painting the skies of that region in hues of gold. The 10th prince wiped away his tears and piloted the sun god wheel into the depths of the cosmos. Moments later, he glimpsed the territories of the Golden Crow clan through a belt of asteroids. Powerful beings, save me. His cries echoed across the starry expanse, startling countless mighty warriors. Who was calling for help? A robust demon warrior rose, gazing into the void of the cosmos. Look, a sun is falling from the sky, exclaimed a demon cultivator, staring at the blazing fireball plummeting rapidly. It's the young prince of the Golden Crow. He seems to be fleeing. We must rescue him. The demon cultivators rushed from their city, hastening towards that direction. Humans in the rear, hasten your departure. You have entered the domain of the demon celestial realm. Those who dare intrude shall be executed without mercy, bellowed the demon general guarding the gates. From afar, he shouted back, demon celestial realm? Nonsense. A wretched organization long buried beneath the sands of history, foolishly dreaming of revival? In this era, there is but one heavenly emperor, my master. With that, he readied the skeletal arrow once more, aiming to slay the last of the Golden Crows. Boldness! You have violated celestial laws. Your kin will perish. A demon general roared in fury. Dai smirked. The demon celestial realm has been obliterated. What celestial law remains? Merely an excuse for a band of failures to console themselves. With a crack, the arrow was loosed, sending tremors throughout the entire demon border. This massive city separated the core territories of the demon race from the vast wilderness, akin to a capital's fortress, while deeper within lay the realm of the great emperor. Stop him. In an instant, a swarm of demon soldiers and generals surged skyward, raising various banners and formations, transforming into an iron river to thwart the ES advance. But who could rival the might of imperial weaponry? The skeletal arrow surged forth with unstoppable force, shattering all magical artifacts and formations, piercing through the 10th prince's back as he stepped into the city, momentarily relieved and believing himself saved. Yet, in the next instant, his entire body erupted in a cataclysm, reduced to mere remnants. The sinister energy emanating from the skeletal arrow tore apart his soul, leaving no room for respite. Your Highness. The faces of the demon cultivators paled in terror as they turned to Dai hovering in the sky, a murderous aura emanating from him. Kill. On the other side, the great Emperor Jinwu summoned a few of his old friends, preparing to jointly confront the enigmatic human emperor. Suddenly, an ominous premonition surged within him, prompting an instinctive touch to his heart. No, it was as if he sensed something. His body weakened, plunging him into a profound despair. Tears of molten gold streaming from his eyes. Fellow Taoist, what troubles you? Inquired the concerned demon emperor beside him. All 10 of my sons have perished, lamented the great Emperor Jinwu. The demon emperor, filled with indignation, retorted, is it true that the human emperor dares to strike against the younger generation of our realm? If so, he is unworthy of his title. Today, we shall eliminate him. Nodding in agreement, the great Emperor Jinwu adjusted his robes, preparing for departure. Oh, such trivial matters need not trouble you, came a languid voice from behind them. Turning to look, the demon emperors were taken aback to see a figure clad in white. A human, seated comfortably in their chairs, savoring the fruits upon a plate. Who are you, daring to intrude upon my palace? One of the demon emperors glared at Ji Xian, deeply offended by such audacity. Ignoring him, Ji Xian intertwined his thumb and middle finger, flicking a point of colorful light into the air, which transformed into a grand barrier, sealing off the entire territory of the demon clan. What are you doing? Do you seek to humiliate us? The demon emperor could no longer contain himself. The sudden appearance of a human sealing the entire Tang Valley was a blatant provocation. Ji Xian casually popped a cherry into his mouth, spitting out the pit at the feet of the demon emperors, and remarked, what? Just closing the door on a dog. The great Emperor Jinwu, momentarily stunned, scrutinized Ji Xian's appearance and suddenly realized, shouting before anyone could respond, it is you. Chapter 386, A Great Foe Approaches. Let us roast the beef leg. The demon emperors stared blankly at the great Emperor Jinwu, asking, fellow Taoist, do you recognize this person? The great Emperor Jinwu replied, more than a year ago, this individual lingered from thousands of miles away, coveting the Fusong tree of my Jinwu clan. I sensed that emotional disturbance. He covets our sacred tree. One of the demon emperors declared, then there is nothing more to discuss. We shall slay him today. Before them stood a colossal Kuei-Nyo, its head nearly reaching the ceiling of the hall as it lifted its majestic neck, resembling a small mountain. Its body was adorned with blue scales, shimmering with a cold metallic sheen, while tendrils of lightning crackled around it. What captured Ji Xian's attention was the fact that this Kuei-Nyo had no horns, no limbs, just a single powerful leg that supported its entire frame. A legendary pureblood Kuei-Nyo, a divine beast governing thunder and lightning. Consuming it could potentially lead to the perfection of the lightning path. manifesting the thunderous form. Ji Xian gazed up at the mountain-like divine bull, his eyes sparkling with excitement, a drool escaping his lips uncontrollably. Having been in this vast wilderness for over a year, influenced by Dai, he had grown accustomed to a savage lifestyle, indulging in raw flesh and blood. Coupled with the rarity of such a divine bull, which was scarcely seen across the 9 heavens and 10 earths, it ignited Ji Xian's appetite. The teachings of cultivation emphasize following one's desires: eat when hungry, sleep when tired. He aspires to attain immortality, to wander freely through the realms. It is only fitting. What did you say? The ancient Emperor Kuei Nyo erupted in fury, his ears standing upright, and in an instant, he unleashed a dagger forged from lightning, aimed directly at Ji Xian. Crackle! The azure-hued lightning dagger cleaved through the ethereal realm, exuding a force capable of reshaping the cosmos. Once summoned, it severed the palatial abodes of several ancient emperors in twain. Yet, this ferocious strike was effortlessly captured by Ji Xian with a single hand. He scrutinized the lightning dagger in his grasp, shook his head, and with a decisive grip, shattered it to pieces. You! The eyes of the ancient Emperor Kuei Nyo widened in disbelief, drawing in a sharp breath. Despite being a supreme entity, capable of obliterating star realms and annihilating myriad celestial bodies with a mere flick of his wrist, he found himself subdued by this man with such ease. Possessing such prodigious innate talent, yet failing to wield it? Allow me to demonstrate the true essence of thunder. Ji Xian's ebony hair was lifted by an electrical aura, suspended in the air, enveloping him in a veil of golden radiance, as a celestial dragon manifested behind him, its 5 claws in motion, unleashing bolts of lightning. Dragon Emperor's sacred thunder. As the words left his lips, a resounding explosion echoed, and golden lightning surged forth, while thunderclouds descended from the heavens. The several demon emperors were struck with terror, sensing the impending peril, and hastily sought refuge. Only the ancient Emperor Kuei Nyo remained ensnared, rooted in place, as the collapsing tempest of lightning engulfed him. Mu! The cries of despair echoed as the ancient Emperor Kuei Nyo found himself entwined by hundreds of chains of order, subjected to a baptism of lightning. What do you, a mere human, intend to do? The ancient Emperor Kuei Nyo gasped in alarm, sensing the dire situation. Ji Xian had countless opportunities to end him in a single blow, yet each time he spared his vital points, relentlessly striking at his corporeal form with lightning. It was as if an unparalleled chef was expertly preparing his ingredients. How dare you insult me? The ancient Emperor Kuei Nyo, regaining his composure, roared. Throughout history, no emperor had ever been consumed as mere food. In that moment, he chose to self-destruct, intending to perish alongside this human. Yet before he could react, Ji Xian had already dashed into the sea of lightning, wielding a divine sword forged from lightning energy, with a swift thrust, severing his head. True dragon's sacred art. In an instant, the Golden Crow Emperor outside discerned the gravity of the situation, his expression shifting to one of solemnity. The 2 demon emperors beside him were startled, urgently inquiring, "Is that true?" The Golden Crow Emperor remained silent, extending his hand towards the sea of lightning, fanning the flames in an attempt to counter the lightning and rescue Kuei Nyo. Crack! Yet that golden lightning seemed alive, transforming into a serpentine dragon, its tail sweeping away the approaching hand. Subsequently, Ji Xian's voice resonated from within the lightning sea. "Do not rush, my friends outside. Once I finish roasting him, I shall turn my attention to you." The Golden Crow Emperor, gazing at his charred hand, became even more convinced of his earlier thoughts. With 10 of his sons fallen, despite the seething rage, upon witnessing Ji Xian's might, he tempered his fury. "My sons may be reckless, but I cannot afford to be," the Golden Crow Emperor declared. "This individual is extraordinary, mastering what appears to be the complete true dragon's sacred art. We shall withdraw for now, while he deals with brother Kuei Nyo. We must prepare ourselves for battle." The 2 demon emperors, realizing they had encountered a formidable foe in the elder brother of the Golden Crow, instinctively retreated, distancing themselves from the tempestuous sea of thunder. Within the stormy realm, Ji Xian was acutely aware of everything transpiring, yet he remained utterly untroubled. The outside world had already been sealed off by him, a formation woven from the essence of the indomitable sword intent, disregarding all levels of cultivation. Even if an immortal were to intrude, they would have to bow their heads twice to exit. In his grasp, the head of the Kuei Nyo was severed by Ji Xian's sword, its primordial spirit unable to escape the onslaught of lightning. Blue scales scattered across the ground as Ji Xian seized the ancient Kuei Nyo by its remaining leg, placing it upon a metallic grill, where it was roasted by thunderfire and glazed with a golden sauce, emanating a tantalizing aroma. With a resounding bite, lightning erupted, and juices sprayed forth. In the distance, the demon emperors, engaged in their own preparations, were rendered astonished at the sight. They could scarcely believe that this ethereal figure clad in white had indeed roasted and consumed the ancient Kuei Nyo. Such ferocity was unparalleled. One demon emperor felt a chill run through his body, instinctively wrapping his arms around himself. He was a transcended dragon crab, having surpassed the dragon gate and evolving towards true dragonhood, with the most precious treasures within him being a modicum of crab roe and half a dragon pearl. Witnessing Ji Xian feasting upon the ancient Kuei Yo, his hands trembled, unable to steady the formation disc he held. We must act quickly. Our brother Kuei Yo cannot hold off for long. If he emerges prematurely, we are likely to face a fierce battle. This individual is extraordinarily powerful, declared the Golden Crow Emperor. The group swiftly repositioned, leaving behind fleeting shadows as they encircled the sacred Fusang tree to establish a grand array. Meanwhile, the entire Tang Valley trembled as countless demon folk knelt in earnest reverence, gazing toward the distant Sea of Thunder, believing it to be an auspicious sign of divine favor. Golden lightning cascaded from the heavens, creating small lakes on the ground. This liquid, imbued with an enticing aroma, contained potent life essence, causing minor demons to experience a surge in longevity merely by inhaling its fragrance. This phenomenon sparked a fervor among the populace, who eagerly collected the golden liquid for cultivation and prolonging their lives. Faith in the divine protection over Tang Valley grew even stronger, as this golden essence became the most tangible proof of their blessings. Within the Sea of Thunder, Ji Xian had consumed half of the leg, wiping the grease from his lips as he descended through the clouds. Within him, the embodiment of lightning had fully coalesced, manifesting as a towering figure of divine might. It is time for a change of flavor, he proclaimed, shattering the void beneath his feet, causing the realms to tremble as the Sea of Thunder was instantaneously disrupted, propelling him toward the Fusang tree. In the depths of the vast wilderness, the Fusang divine tree stood majestically amidst the ocean, radiating a fervent divine aura. From the expanse of space, its crown spread wide, its branches lush and boundless. These were indeed two true immortal trees, their colossal nature unknown to any. Even the most dedicated cultivator would find it nearly impossible to encircle their trunks in a single lifetime. Amidst the foliage, celestial bodies such as stars and planets floated, with cities of various sizes erected upon them, serving as the dwelling place for the Golden Crow clan. Some assert that this is not a tree at all, but rather an insurmountable wall, separating the desolate wilderness from the outside world. No one has ever laid eyes on its other side to validate its cylindrical trunk. On the surface, every texture and groove, every hollowed section of bark, could encompass an entire galaxy. Even the formidable Ji Xian, standing before the Fusang divine tree, felt a pang of awe. The Fusang divine tree, rooted in the netherworld, grows deep into the cosmos, seemingly without bounds. Many cultivators exhaust their lives traversing mountains and crossing vast plains, perhaps never even encountering a single leaf. This tree embodies a grand universe. Upon concluding his thoughts, he gazed at the vigilant demon emperor and demon sovereign in the distance, retrieving a broken bowl from his robe, exclaiming, "You might as well come into the bowl yourselves. I have no desire to damage such a magnificent tree." In the distance, the expressions of the Golden Crow Emperor and the other demon monarchs darkened, for the bowl contained the half-consumed corpse of the ancient Kuei Yo Emperor, resembling a small mountain. This individual had first roasted the ancient Kuei Yo, and now intended to make them his prey? The Golden Crow Emperor proclaimed, "Having slain my progeny, and now coveting the Fusang divine tree, today my three emperors shall unite to vanquish you, to assuage the wrath of both man and deity." His voice resonated like a deep bell, carrying a surging wave of heat in all directions. Ji Xian sensed that the momentum of the heavens and earth in Tang Valley was under the control of the Golden Crow Emperor. While he indulged in his meal, they had made ample preparations. This was perhaps for the best, as it prevented the situation from becoming too tedious. Ji Xian, feeling the rich concentration of spiritual energy in the air, nodded. "Why waste time with him? Let us eliminate him swiftly," urged the Dragon King Crab. Ji Xian always exuded an unsettling aura, and he genuinely feared becoming a mere delicacy, devoured for his essence. Boom! The Tang Valley trembled, and the Fusang divine tree quivered gently, radiating an immortal divine light. In that moment, a great sun rose behind it, illuminating the heavens and ruling the earth. "Suppress!" The Golden Crow Emperor bellowed, activating the immortal artifact, the Kunlun Mirror. Though imperfect, its power surpassed that of ordinary imperial weapons. With his arrangement, the force of the heavens and earth was channeled through the Kunlun Mirror, empowering the three demon emperors to share their might. Attack! The Dragon King Crab was the first to charge forth, evolving into an ancient dragon species, its armor gleaming crimson, emitting a perilous aura. Each of its massive claws wielded a meteor hammer, creating tremors that shook the earth, shattering ancient stars suspended in midair and sinking forsaken ancient continents. This strike was ferocious, descending toward the earth with the roar of dragons echoing. Ji Xian found it intriguing. The Dragon King Crab's assault indeed possessed the essence of true dragon techniques. Roar! He retaliated with his own true dragon techniques, his right fist swinging upward in combat. Dragon energy surged forth, manifesting 81 true dragons that spiraled upward with an overwhelming force. Accompanying this was a barrage of purple lightning, as ancient deities emerged, bearing their claws and fangs, joining the true dragons in the assault against the Dragon King Crab. This was Ji Xian's lightning manifestation, one of the most domineering forces in existence, capable of conjuring ancient deities to fight alongside him. Boom, boom, boom. The skies above Tonggu erupted into a cacophony of explosions, cleaving open the once serene azure expanse. Undoubtedly, the claws of the Dragon King Crab were shattered into smithereens, eliciting a chorus of anguished cries. The true Dragon Chi unleashed by Ji Xian relentlessly pursued him, intent on delivering a decisive blow. Return. Above. The Golden Crow Emperor manipulated his celestial artifact, executing a series of spatial leaps to retrieve the Dragon King Crab, lest he be instantly vanquished. The ingredients I have set my sights on shall not be taken from me. Behind, Ji Xian bellowed, extending his golden hand that obscured the heavens, seeking to engage the celestial artifact in melee combat, challenging the divine. Ignorant fool, do you truly believe yourself a celestial being? The Golden Crow Emperor scoffed. For never had an emperor dared to confront a celestial artifact with mere flesh. Yet, unexpectedly, a remarkable occurrence unfolded. The formidable Kunlun mirror was sent spiraling through the air by Ji Xian's hand, spinning thousands of times before embedding itself in the sacred Fusang tree. The Golden Crow Emperor felt a chill run down his spine, having assumed that with mastery over the cosmic forces and the celestial artifact at his command, he could easily subdue Ji Xian. Ji Xian smiled lightly, his hand still descending. The sudden shadow that loomed above petrified the Dragon King Crab. What descended was no mere hand, but a colossal manifestation of the Tao's might, a five-fingered mountain intent on crushing him beneath its weight. With a resounding crack, the sound of bones fracturing echoed as Ji Xian raised his hand, revealing the Dragon King Crab reduced to a mere pulp, its once formidable shell obliterated, juices splattering everywhere. At this moment, both the Golden Crow Emperor and the remaining Demon Sovereign shuddered. Had either of them been the first to strike, they would have met the same grim fate. Ji Xian traversed the eternal expanse, descending into this realm, and from the carcass of the Dragon King Crab, he extracted a morsel of crab roe, placing it into his battered bowl. You truly intend to do this? The essence fire of the Dragon King Crab soared forth. Lingering nearby, his voice trembling, he glimpsed the remnants of a half-eaten beef leg within Ji Xian's bowl, alongside various flesh and blood tainted with imperial aura. How many emperors have you slain? The Dragon King Crab gasped in horror. The ancient imperial corpses within the bowl resembled small mountains, outnumbering any he had ever encountered throughout his life. Not many, Ji Xian replied with a nonchalant demeanor. After counting with his fingers, he realized it was insufficient and quickly amended, actually, quite a few. Moments later, Ji Xian extracted a dragon pearl from the mound of flesh, tucking it away in his robes, before shattering the essence of the Dragon King Crab with a mere gesture. No, the remnants of his voice echoed through the heavens, sending a shiver down the spine of the remaining Demon Sovereign. Feeling a tinge of panic, he pondered for a while before proposing to the Golden Crow Emperor, "Brother, perhaps we should reconsider. This individual is exceedingly peculiar. It seems he is merely toying with us, not truly engaging in battle." Both Kuei Nyo and the Dragon King Crab were paragons among the Supreme, yet he dispatched them with a single blow. How much stronger can we possibly be than the Supreme? A lost offspring can indeed be reborn. His voice brimmed with desperation, for at this level of cultivation, no one wished to meet their end so swiftly. In their usual dominance, they found themselves today confronted by a formidable opponent, leaving them quite perplexed. The great Emperor of the Golden Crow sighed and remarked, "If you think that way, you are mistaken." The Demon Monarch inquired, "Why so?" The great Emperor replied, "Have you not noticed that this individual has not declared his purpose since his arrival? I suspect he harbors a simple hostility towards us, seeking the annihilation of our demon race." The Demon Monarch, alarmed, responded, "This is dire." Gazing at the Kunlun mirror in his hand, the great Emperor declared, "Even in death, we must strive valiantly. An emperor possesses an indomitable spirit. With the celestial cord on the verge of establishment, we must endure this tribulation. Should we successfully establish the celestial cord, we can rejuvenate our power, unlocking the gates to the outer realms and stepping forth from the great wasteland. Ascending to emperor status is no trivial feat. Having come this far, we must not retreat." The great Emperor of the Golden Crow, filled with pride, could not allow himself to bow to others. The Golden Crow clan, in ancient times, was a force that could rival the four symbols, true dragons, white tigers, and other great races. Well said, your final words are worthy of your sacrifice. Suddenly, the clouds ahead trembled, and a pure white mist transformed into the figure of Ji Xian, who still held that tattered bowl in his hand. Chapter 388, Kunlun Mirror. Ancestral Crow Emperor's elegance. The sea of clouds twisted and surged, and Ji Xian emerged in flowing white robes, resembling a manifestation of white clouds, exuding an ethereal grace. However, the tattered bowl he held was somewhat incongruous. Yet, discerning eyes could see that the bowl contained vast potential. It seemed capable of holding an ocean within its confines. Upon Ji Xian's appearance, his attention was immediately drawn to the Demon Monarch beside the great Emperor of the Golden Crow. This monarch was a black bear, having attained enlightenment, his fur gleaming darkly, embodying both lunar and solar powers, indicating his formidable strength. Of course, Ji Xian's interest lay solely in his bear paw. "My friend, do not take liberties." Before he could finish, the ancient emperor of the underworld felt a piercing gaze upon him. an icy chill racing from his heels to the crown of his head. Ji Xian raised his hand, and the surrounding space-time warped, altering the very fabric of reality. With a swift flash, two beams of sword light surged forth, leaping through space and severing the ancient emperor's hand from a distance of tens of thousands of miles. Ji Xian effortlessly captured the severed bear paws into his tattered bowl, his movements appearing exceedingly casual. Had the ancient emperor of the underworld not seen the bear paws within Ji Xian's bowl, he might not have realized that his hand had been severed at all. A mixture of anguished cries and beastly roars erupted. The ancient emperor of the underworld was in excruciating pain, blood gushing from the stump of his arm. Shockingly black in hue. You have gone too far. The great emperor of the Golden Crow, filled with fury, suspended the Kunlun mirror above him, rapidly magnifying it, unleashing a radiant beam of celestial light toward Ji Xian. The celestial light emanating from the Kunlun mirror was more dazzling than the sun, and within its reflective surface lay a magnificent world. As Ji Xian beheld the oncoming celestial light, a look of astonishment crossed his face. It was not fear that gripped him, but rather the familiar aura emanating from the mirror, the White Tiger clan. Once again, he wielded the celestial artifact with bare hands, extinguishing the divine light with his golden blood energy, then unleashed his vast divine consciousness to capture the essence of the Kunlun mirror. The pain was unbearable. Beside him, the ancient emperor of the underworld clutched his arm, screaming in agony, his roars shattering the clouds above. Strangely, Ji Xian's sword light seemed to possess an indestructible attribute, rendering all healing methods ineffective. How exasperating! Ji Xian, disturbed from his focused state, felt a surge of irritation and struck with his palm, instantly reducing the ancient emperor of the underworld to a puddle of pus and blood. This was the aura of a deity. It was only at this moment that the great emperor of the Golden Crow began to perceive Ji Xian's cultivation level. That furious palm strike was laced with a potent divine force. Unbelievably, a cultivator had ascended to divinity in the great wilderness. Which faction could this be? The great emperor of the Golden Crow speculated inwardly, retreating repeatedly. Indeed, it bore the aura of the White Tiger clan, though this celestial artifact was not particularly powerful. It had significant origins. Ji Xian shed his frivolous demeanor, adopting a more composed stance. Having satisfied his hunger, it was time to attend to serious matters. He advanced toward the great emperor of the Golden Crow, each step invoking the weight of 100,000 mountains, as if forged from heavenly thunder and divine will. The celestial being who had previously wandered the mortal realm transformed instantaneously into a formidable war saint. Observing the tumultuous sea of thunder, the great emperor of the Golden Crow was filled with trepidation. He inquired, "Esteemed friend, what brings you here? I distinctly recall having no prior dealings with you. Surely, it cannot be concerning the great Wildernessy clan. After all, they have merely 10 sons, and it would not warrant the annihilation of my demon race's emperors." Ji Xian's eyes flashed with lightning, his tone commanding as he replied, "Because you intend to establish the Heavenly Court, and I am the current sovereign of the Heavenly Court." What? The great emperor of the Golden Crow's expression shifted dramatically. He added, "Friend, you hardly appear to be of the demon race. The Heavenly Court has historically been our demon race's rightful path." With a grand gesture, Ji Xian summoned a curtain of water behind him, revealing countless weapons embedded within, their menacing glints radiating fierce coldness. The demon race? Preposterous. I establish a heavenly court for all races. In the 9 heavens and 10 earths, I stand unparalleled, sweeping through the 8 desolations and 6 directions. What qualifications do you, a mere ancient celestial demon clan, possess to establish a heavenly court? At the mention of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, the great emperor of the Golden Crow trembled. He shouted, "From which world do you hail?" Boom. In that instant, the armory was triggered, unleashing an uncountable array of divine weapons. Ancient cauldrons, stone lanterns, towering pagodas, black long spears, bronze swords, and colossal meteor hammers surged forth, tearing through the heavens and reverberating through the skies, forming a soaring divine dragon that charged at the great emperor of the Golden Crow. The great emperor of the Golden Crow screamed in agony as his body was bombarded by the relentless assault of lethal weapons, shattering into countless fragments. This was indeed the most excruciating torment imaginable, with innumerable weapons, each surpassing the might of imperial arms. Yet, to Ji Xian's astonishment, the great emperor of the Golden Crow's primordial spirit was not obliterated but enveloped by a mysterious force, slowly ascending into the air. An aura of the celestial? He sensed the power of the celestial path emanating from the Fusang divine tree. Who dares to disturb my heavenly court? Who would dare to annihilate the imperial lineage of this emperor? A voice of authority reverberated, accompanied by a blinding radiance. A resplendent sun ascended slowly from behind the sacred tree of Fusang, emanating an intense, searing power. This was undoubtedly the most magnificent scene Ji Xian had ever witnessed. The dazzling canopy of the tree cradled a celestial sun, showering boundless divine brilliance upon the world, where all beings basked in its light, receiving its sanctifying embrace. At that moment, the formidable De Yi burst onto the scene, calling out to Ji Xian from afar, "Master, quickly take cover." for that is the true sun of the great wasteland. Ji Xian gestured for him to remain calm, then unleashed two dragon-shaped beams of light from his starry eyes to scrutinize the sun before him. It turns out not to be an immortal, but merely a cold corpse, Ji Xian scoffed. With a single glance, he discerned the truth of the soaring sun. This golden crow had fallen millions of years ago, leaving only its remains and an incomplete will. I am the ancestral Emperor Jun of the Golden Crow, the ancient heavenly sovereign. Why do you not kneel before me? The authoritative voice echoed once more from within the sun. It engulfed Ji Xian's entire field of vision, the emanating heat potent enough to boil all things, sparing only those beings sheltered by the Fusang sacred tree from such calamity. With a flourish of his great sleeve, Ji Xian enveloped Da Yi in protective magic to shield him from the impending disaster. Who would have imagined that one day he would behold the true sun? Da Yi gazed in awe at the great sun, the very source of life for all in the great wasteland. The human tribes of the great wasteland revered the divine. And though this ancestral golden crow hailed from an opposing faction, it still instilled into Yi a sense of reverence. The echoes of the sun lingered in the cosmos, causing all who heard it to kneel in submission. Ancestral Emperor Jun was one of the mightiest immortals of ancient times, his legendary deeds celebrated throughout the ages. What a farce. A deceased heavenly sovereign is nothing but a hollow title. Only the living possess true power. Ji Xian retorted angrily. Pitiful beings. Did you ever dare to oppress us during the glorious times of the heavenly court of the demonic lineage? The voice of Emperor Jun resonated once more. Ji Xian countered. The mighty Yangtze River flows ceaselessly, washing away the heroes of antiquity. What does past strength signify if it cannot achieve true immortality? In the end, it is but an empty farce. I shall establish the heavenly court across the 9 heavens and 10 lands, purging all enemies from my path, so that none shall dare to claim supremacy. Behind him, crimson and golden energies surged forth, like 2 celestial waterfalls cascading toward the heavens. The golden seal poised to suppress the ancient might, steadfast against the divine radiance emitted by Emperor Jun. A corpse, after all, is merely a corpse, incapable of wielding the full power of a true immortal. Begone. I shall forever guard the lineage of the Golden Crow. Emperor Jun's tone intensified, summoning a powerful solar tempest to suppress Ji Xian. This message is also for you. Ji Xian retrieved the supreme immortal artifact, the Xianming Destruction Bow, from the void, drew the bowstring, and released an arrow. Chapter 389, A New Realm. Creating the sun as the arrow was loosed, all fell silent. It was as though a waterfall descended from the heavens, the black waters radiating a strange power. Countless divine dragons, born from the swirling mud, coiled around the arrow's feather, accompanied by ancient deities clearing the path. A black bow releases a white arrow, ethereal yet tangible. This arrow seems to originate from the past, linger in the present, and aim towards the future. The solar storm summoned by Emperor Jun is both fierce and potent, while the arrow of Xianming embodies utmost softness and darkness. These two opposing forces of yin and yang should ideally coexist in tranquility, yet the sky has transformed into a chaotic battlefield, reminiscent of a universe yet to be forged. Boom. The mighty solar storm collides with the Xianming arrow, producing a thunderous sound, yet chaos obscures all, rendering the events within imperceptible. Below, the populace of the demon race stands frozen, paralyzed by the overwhelming clash of these two forces. In other regions of the great wilderness, several supreme beings are also struck with trepidation, glancing nervously towards the source of the explosion. This is celestial might. At last, the tumultuous chaos is rent asunder by the white arrow's feather, and the Xianming arrow soars forth, hurtling towards the corpse of the celestial being. In an instant, a black cascade sweeps across the heavens, dispelling all sunlight, plunging the world into darkness. What a formidable divine artifact. Emperor Jun is taken aback, wishing to evade the impending doom, yet his size and depleted power render him incapable, and he is struck by the arrow. Boom. The sun, once a towering presence, explodes, pierced by the Xianming arrow, shattering into colossal fragments that plummet into the depths of the cosmos. The Fusang Divine Tree is also affected, shaking violently and generating powerful spatial fluctuations, as if it were about to unveil a gateway to the outside world. This commotion lasts but a fleeting moment, yet it is captured by Ji Xian. Could it truly be as the legends say? Doubts arise within him. Ancient texts recount that the Fusang Divine Tree serves as a gateway connecting the realms of the divine, human, and underworld. It was felled by a hero who shot down the sun, thereby opening the path among the 3 realms. Though the myths of this world diverge from those accounts, Ji Xian feels that, based on current events, there may indeed be a way to discover a passage to another world. System. To which world is the Fusang Divine Tree connected? Ji Xian inquires. Reply to the host. It is connected to other regions of the celestial ancient realm. The Great Wilderness is merely a part of it. Other regions? Then where am I currently situated? Reply to the host. You are located on the northern side of the celestial ancient realm. The northern side, indeed corresponding to the geographical position of the northern sea. Ji Xian muses. The celestial emperor of the ancients was unable to suppress you. In the air, the soul fire of the Golden Crow Emperor flickers. Astonished by Ji Xian's display, even in death, the power emanating from a celestial being's body is beyond the endurance of an emperor. How does this white-clad cultivator possess such strength? The Bao, yet again, is a Bao. He grits his teeth, for both his son and ancestor fell victim to such weaponry, inciting his ire. Such a tremendous surge of power has not yet claimed your life. You truly possess great fortune. In the distant sky, Ji Xian extends his hand, grasping the soul fire of the Golden Crow Emperor in his palm, casually retrieving the shattered celestial artifact, the Kunlun Mirror. You have slaughtered my Golden Crow clan. You are a sinner of the ages, a great transgressor. The Golden Crow Emperor exclaims in wrath. Ji Xian, assured that he will not be wronged, chooses to speak frankly. The victor claims the throne while the vanquished become the outcasts. You stand as an obstacle upon my celestial path, and thus must be eliminated. You ought to express gratitude to your esteemed progeny. Were it not for them, I would hardly have paid heed to your Golden Crow lineage, Ji Xian proclaimed. The soul fire of the Golden Crow Emperor dimmed, reflecting a moment of regret. Perhaps he should not have allowed his sons to seek vengeance upon the Yi clan. His initial intent was to seize the Yi Emperor's Bao, yet he ended up sacrificing even the primordial artifact, the Kunlun Mirror. Exert your final flicker of vitality. With a celestial eye opening at his brow, Ji Xian summoned his golden primordial spirit, wielding a sword as it surged forth to strike at the soul fire of the Golden Crow Emperor. You intend to probe into my soul? The Golden Crow Emperor exclaimed in alarm, instinctively attempting to evade, but found himself utterly suppressed by Ji Xian's soul power. They were not even in the same league. A divine radiance blazed forth as Ji Xian forcefully dismantled the prohibitions, penetrating the consciousness realm of the Golden Crow Emperor. It appeared that the Fusang Divine Tree indeed served as a portal. Through the Golden Crow Emperor's sea of consciousness, Ji Xian gleaned some hidden truths. Within the Golden Crow Palace, there existed an ancient teleportation array, which, upon activation, could unveil a path to the external world. Furthermore, he uncovered significant information, an anecdote, lacking precise documentation, pertaining to the secrets of ascension within the ancient celestial realm. In antiquity, for divine clans, the True Dragon, White Tiger, Phoenix, and Black Tortoise governed this realm, safeguarding a secret that has ignited boundless speculation among posterity. Now, with the extinction of the 4 divine clans, this secret has vanished into the annals of history. Yet, with the dawn of a great era, there are those who seek to unearth this enigma once more, aspiring to tread the path of immortality. Additionally, Ji Xian learned that the fragmented celestial artifact, the Kunlun Mirror, was obtained from the western Kunlun Mountains of the ancient celestial realm. Kunlun White Tiger. Could this ancient realm be a vast world of mountains and seas? Ji Xian mused with a smile, casually extinguishing the soul fire of the Golden Crow Emperor. Upon regaining his focus, he noticed Da Yi kneeling beside him, presenting the Yi Emperor's Bao with both hands, offering it to Ji Xian. What is the meaning of this? Ji Xian inquired. Da Yi respectfully replied, Master, this Yi Emperor's Bao is a part of the Kunlun Mirror. I, your disciple, present it to you, so you may govern this flawless celestial artifact. I have seized the Golden Crow Prince's sun wheel. One imperial weapon suffices. Without a hint of hesitation, he relinquished the treasured item. Witnessing Ji Xian's formidable prowess only solidified his resolve to follow. One man exerted absolute dominance over the myriad emperors and even felled a mighty sun. As a barbarian, Da Yi was forthright in nature, harboring no concealment in his sentiments, and expressed profound reverence for Ji Xian. That will not be necessary. The Yi Emperor's Bao has long been separated from the Kunlun Mirror, having birthed its own weapon deity, and thus is no longer compatible with this celestial artifact. Ji Xian declined, pushing the rough hands back. He had other means regarding this mirror system. Consume 1 weapon upgrade opportunity to repair this celestial artifact. Repair in progress. Immediately, an ethereal divine light enveloped the Kunlun Mirror, swiftly restoring its worn edges and shattered surface. The repairs have been completed, and the Kunlun Mirror has now been upgraded to a first-grade celestial artifact. In Ji Xian's hands, the mirror's surface gleamed with an enhanced smoothness, emanating an even more potent celestial aura. Da Yi was momentarily taken aback. It had been repaired so swiftly? Suddenly, a deafening roar echoed from the horizon, followed by an engulfing darkness that descended upon the world, robbing it of its light. The corpse of Emperor Jun was shattered by Ji Xian, scattering into the depths of the cosmos. With the sun extinguished, this world was plunged into eternal night. Da Yi found himself at a loss. Without the sun, humanity had no hope of survival. Calmly observing the receding sunlight, Ji Xian extended his right hand and gently pressed against the void. In an instant, a cascade of colorful streams flowed forth, akin to a babbling brook, numbering in the tens of thousands, dancing through the air like vibrant threads. Under Ji Xian's manipulation, these colorful streams coalesced into a grand river, intertwining to form a domain, the realm of creation. From his right hand, a divine fire erupted, glowing in golden red hues, gradually coalescing into a spherical shape under the influence of the creative power. As the flames surged, the spherical object expanded rapidly, capable of rivaling a star within mere days. Yet, Ji Xian persisted. A full month passed before he ceased, and the spherical entity had reached an astonishing magnitude. In the name of the Heavenly Emperor, I hereby appoint you as the son of the great wilderness from this day forth, Ji Xian whispered. With a hum, the spherical object quivered, its surface's colorful luminescence fading to reveal a blazing fireball. Unlike the former Golden Crow sun, this was a pure embodiment of energy. Under De Yi's astonished gaze, the new sun ascended to the sacred Fusang tree, illuminating the vast expanse of the great wilderness with its radiant light. The laws of the heavenly Tao showed no resistance to the new sun, which was swiftly accepted. Light returned to the world, dispelling the eternal night. Master truly is divine. De Yi's understanding was utterly transformed. The sun, governing the growth of all things, had been created anew. De Yi marveled, slaying the celestial being, bestowing the title of sun. The savages of the great wilderness had revered the gods for ages. Now, a true deity had descended upon this realm. Chapter 390. The Teleportation Array. The affable Ji Xian. As the sun rose, the Tang Valley regained its brilliance. In the depths of the celestial realm, Emperor Jun's celestial corpse exploded, and searing meteors radiated an immortal brilliance, scorching countless planets into crimson carbon. For nearly 1,000,000 years thereafter, this starry expanse would become a desolate wasteland. Even in their fall, the remnants of celestial beings could still influence the ages. The fragments of the Golden Crow Emperor's body melted under intense heat, dissolving into the void, leaving only golden feathers to cascade down, each as large as a banana leaf. Ji Xian grasped one of the golden feathers, using his magic to alter its size, and affixed it to the head of the five-colored sparrow. Instantly, the sparrow ignited, engulfed in golden flames, yet she, at the heart of the blaze, felt no pain whatsoever. With joyful chirps, she flapped her wings, conveying her comfort to Ji Xian. After several breaths, the flames subsided, leaving her feathers adorned with a layer of golden silk. She exhaled, unleashing a searing wave of fire that startled the illustrious De Yi before her. How could this little bird master the fire manipulation technique of the Jin Wu clan so swiftly? De Yi inquired in disbelief. Ji Xian nodded in response, asserting that it was the nature of primordial beings. Primordial beings, De Yi murmured, as if reminiscing about ancient legends. When he regained his senses, he realized that the surroundings had transformed profoundly, and he found himself atop the divine tree of Fusang. Here, every leaf harbored a city, accompanied by a tapestry of stars. The kin of the Jinwu clan resided in isolation, living lives detached from the world. Ji Xian did not seek their annihilation. In comparison to the pure-blooded Jinwu emperor, these beings possessed a diluted bloodline, akin to common birds. It took 2 years to ascend from the base of the main trunk to its pinnacle, in the expanse of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Such a duration was ample for Ji Xian to traverse an entire universe, illustrating the vastness of the divine tree. At the very heart of the tree crown stood a magnificent golden palace, imposing and grandiose. Despite being situated atop a tree, rugged mountains extended into the clouds, with ancient woods and wolf forests visible, forming an ancient landscape. Ji Xian advanced, breaking through numerous barriers as if traversing a realm devoid of constraints, entering the palace. With a resounding clang, the heavy doors swung open, echoing through the vast hall. A figure hastily fled, retreating to a corner of the palace. Ji Xian, with a sweep of his sleeve, unleashed a powerful spatial symbol, altering the layout of the palace as its supporting pillars swiftly shifted, disorienting all cardinal directions. The Jinwu Empress, in her frantic flight, ultimately found herself before Ji Xian. Pale with fear, she realized that the moment the Jinwu Emperor's life fire extinguished, it signaled an impending invasion. "I pay my respects, Your Majesty." The Empress knelt instantly, an astute woman who understood the means of survival. Before Ji Xian could grant permission, she rose, preening her hair and garment in an attempt to appear more alluring. However, Ji Xian was impervious to such guile. "Cease your posturing. In terms of beauty, you pale in comparison to the little bird upon my shoulder." With a decisive step, the ground trembled, and the overwhelming imperial might shattered the Empress's enchanting form into fragments, saturating the palace with the scent of blood. "Ah, my lord, spare me. I beseech you to let me live. I shall do anything you ask." The Jinwu Empress's soul fire flickered uncertainly. Ji Xian remained composed and merciless, his celestial eye at his brow opening and closing, a formidable mental force emanating forth to probe her soul. After a few moments, he gleaned all information regarding the palace, including the precise location of the teleportation array. With a gasp, the Jinwu Empress fell in despair, as even those of the Emperor tier were ruthlessly vanquished by Ji Xian, let alone such a minor figure. "Master, what shall we do next? Shall we depart now?" Da Yi expressed reluctance, knowing the people of the Yi clan awaited his return. Stepping into the teleportation array, he wondered how many ages would pass before he could return. "What, do you have reservations?" Ji Xian smiled. Da Yi hesitated and replied, "Master, to be frank, I have over 100 children and more than 60 wives." Astonishment surged within Ji Xian, who thought to himself, "This lad is quite comparable to Ing Zheng." Although he did not voice his thoughts aloud, his sentiments were unmistakably conveyed. Moments later, he composed himself. In the primitive society of the great wilderness, all forms of productivity seemed so rudimentary that it appeared there was little entertainment beyond procreation. He patted Da-E on the shoulder and said, "There is no need for haste. The great Sun Emperor mentioned that this teleportation array requires the establishment of a heavenly court to be activated. I surmise it necessitates the imprints of multiple powerful beings to initiate." Subsequently, the two delved deeper into the palace, traversing formidable mountains until they arrived at an ancient teleportation array nestled within a gorge. Ji Xian opened his eye of creation to scrutinize the array, contemplating its reliability. The array emanated remnants of formidable temporal and spatial forces. This indicated that the array could not only alter the user's spatial position, but also their temporal position. For an ordinary person, one might find themselves transported 1,000,000 years into the future or the past. For cultivators of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, this was precisely the source of their trepidation, as certain regions experienced temporal distortions that were exceedingly perilous. People both yearned for and feared it. Those fortunate enough to enter might discover celestial treasures, leap through the Dragon Gate to transcend tribulations and become emperors, or extend their lifespan by 1,000,000 years. Conversely, those less fortunate could emerge having their lifespan drained, aging from youth to senescence, or even becoming a mere handful of earth buried in a foreign land. The power of the River of Time. This ancient celestial realm existed upon its currents. Ji Xian, after a moment of reflection, deduced from the lingering temporal forces above that this revelation was indeed shocking. Logically, the River of Time was a manifestation of the Tao, harboring the spirits of heroes from various temporal nodes, making the existence of a real world and entities within it improbable. Yet, the ancient celestial realm resided above the River of Time, existing independently of numerous great worlds, seemingly disregarding the river's rules. How powerful must one be to create a multiverse where immortals are born? The legendary ancestral realm? After contemplating fruitlessly, he shifted his focus to studying the operational methods of the array. Ultimately, he concluded, as he had suspected, that the teleportation array required the collective imprints of the leaders of the major tribes of the Great Wilderness to activate, which was one of the reasons the Great Sun Emperor was eager to establish a heavenly court and ally with powerful figures. No matter, I shall return to bring Ao Tian and the others over. Ji Xian enveloped the teleportation array with a protective formation to prevent damage and then departed with Da-E. In the following decade, Ji Xian visited the various tribes of the Great Wilderness. The ancient rulers greeted him with courtesy, agreeing to his proposal and relinquishing the imprints of their ancestral origins. We must coexist harmoniously in this vast wilderness, right? Ji Xian smiled amicably, stowing the celestial artifact he held. Indeed, harmonious coexistence. You are absolutely correct, my friend. From now on, whenever my divine wood ape tribe has food, we shall ensure to share a portion with the E tribe. The awe-inspiring celestial presence dissipated, and the ancient monkey emperor, Lao Gu, rose with a sheepish smile, his long fur dampened by the sweat that had streamed down. The other ancient emperors mirrored his demeanor, their warm hospitality leaving Ji Xian profoundly satisfied. He couldn't help but exclaim, the customs and culture of the Great Wilderness are far superior to those of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Everyone here is so courteous. There is no violence or bloodshed. In comparison, the 9 heavens and 10 earths resemble a barbaric society. As he gazed at the departing figure in white against the setting sun, several ancient emperors from various tribes convened. Alas, if my intuition serves me right, the Golden Crow Emperor of Tang Valley was indeed slain by him, murmured the Deer Emperor, whose heart raced at the thought of the firstborn Thunderhorn. A lightning bird transformed into human form, with golden hair and azure eyes, remarked, that is most likely true. The fluctuations of power that day bore a striking resemblance to his aura. This individual is both formidable and ferocious, utterly devoid of reason. While I was in deep meditation, he brazenly plucked a feather from me, marked with the insignia of my race. The ancient monkey emperor responded, indeed, he barged in wielding a celestial artifact, claiming to seek harmonious coexistence. He nearly terrified me to death. Let us disperse. In the future, we must refrain from provoking the E clan. Chapter 391, True Dragoness Path. Departure. Upon returning to the E clan, Ji Xian set forth with Ao Tian and his family. Before their departure, Da-E bid farewell to his wife and daughters, tears streaming down in the great wilderness, while their offspring formed an imposing procession. Seeing them off for more than 10 miles, Ao Sheng gazed enviously at the cluster of children and said to Ao Yu, Mother, I too desire many younger siblings. Ao Yu found herself momentarily at a loss for words, her cheeks flushing as she retreated behind Ao Tian. In response, Ao Tian playfully kicked Ao Sheng twice from behind, chiding, You rascal. It is already challenging for true dragons to bear offspring. Your mother and I have engaged in battle 18 times in a single night, and after several millennia, we have only managed to produce you. Ao Sheng pouted and muttered, Humph, it's not like you're incapable. What did you just say? Ao Tian exclaimed. Nothing. Thus, the group soared away from the great wilderness, heading toward the divine tree of Fusang deep within the cosmos. 2 years later, they arrived at the Golden Crow Imperial Palace, traversing through grand halls until they located the cross-domain teleportation array. Following Jixin's lead, Ao Tian and Ao Yu stepped onto the array platform, only to find Ao Sheng hesitating at the edge, fidgeting and reluctant to ascend. What is it now? If you need to relieve yourself, hurry up. Don't keep us waiting, Ao Tian scolded. He is on the verge of transcending as his internal power reaches its zenith. Jixin observed keenly. During their journey, he had shared the blood and flesh of the demon emperor they had captured, enabling them to enhance their cultivation. Ao Sheng had perfected his Holy Lord realm and was on the brink of ascending to the Holy King realm, while Ao Tian stood at the pinnacle of the Great Saint realm, just a step away from the Quasi-Emperor realm. Go on, Jixin gestured to Ao Sheng, encouraging him not to rush. Thank you, Great Emperor. Ao Sheng bowed briefly and began to unleash the power within him. Boom. Suddenly, the heavens and earth stirred, and thunder roared. Heavy clouds materialized in the depths of the sky, looming down like colossal gray mountains. Whoosh! A beam of golden light shot upwards, transforming into a magnificent golden dragon stretching 1,000 feet long, soaring defiantly upward into the tumultuous sea of thunder. Rumbling, the sacred cataclysm roared, and the dragons soared through the heavens. Although Ao Sheng's cultivation was not particularly high, the thunderous tribulation he faced was indeed grand. In the sky, ethereal dragon shadows emerged, standing majestically above the celestial palace, gazing down upon the world. Could it be that the lightning had taken form? Ao Tian exclaimed in astonishment, wondering if his son possessed such formidable potential, for no such phenomenon had accompanied his own tribulation. Ao Yu, equally exhilarated, recalled that throughout history, those who had summoned corporeal lightning during their tribulations invariably ascended to become titans, enduring through the ages. Ao Sheng's thunder tribulation was exceedingly unique. The heavenly path exerted pressure upon him, manifesting a palace of thunderclouds shaped from violet lightning, with true dragons spiraling downwards, unleashing ferocious attacks. Break, break, break. Let everything shatter. Ao Sheng struck forth with both fists, the symbols of the sacred path swirling around him, rending the void asunder. The surging dragon aura surged like a mighty hammer, striking against the heavens. Suddenly, a dragon's roar reverberated throughout the cosmos, imbued with unparalleled majesty, causing Ao Tian and Ao Yu, both true dragons, to tremble within. This is the essence of the ancestor dragon. Ao Yu gasped, her body quivering uncontrollably, realizing that her son's bloodline exhibited signs of ancestral return, hinting at the potential to evolve into an ancestor dragon. As a father, Ao Tian felt a surge of excitement as well. Despite frequently teasing his son, he could not help but feel a genuine joy at his exceptional talent. Meanwhile, Jixin maintained a more composed demeanor, having discerned this potential long ago. His focus now lay on the implications of the ancestor dragon's emergence amidst the tribulation for Ao Sheng. As the thunder tribulation approached its conclusion, a radiant golden light enveloped Ao Sheng, divine brilliance cascading through the air, subtly obscuring the sun's rays. Upon entering the sacred king realm, his dragon form elongated significantly, now stretching an impressive 1,500 zhang. Ao Sheng gestured playfully to Ao Tian, as if to say, the day I can defeat you draws near. Just a moment ago, Ao Tian had been reveling in his child's success, but this gesture sparked within him a desire to discipline his son. Suddenly, a melodious chime echoed throughout the heavens and the earth. The celestial palace above the clouds had not vanished entirely. Rather, it grew increasingly resplendent, emitting a resonant sound, as if something were about to emerge. From the palace, a horn flew forth, ancient and grand, seemingly from the primordial era, with dragon shadows entwined, sounding on its own. The sound waves transformed into rippling water patterns, expanding outward, eventually coalescing into a luminous point that gently descended, hovering above Ao Sheng's head. What is this? Ao Tian exclaimed, reaching out to grasp it. You incorrigible fool. That is our son's Dao fruit. Step aside. Ao Yu rebuked, striking Ao Tian aside, then moved closer to observe the radiant point. Inside, a curled-up young dragon appeared, exuding an aura of sanctity. This closely resembles the descriptions found in our clan's legends. Yet I cannot recall the specifics, Ao Yu lamented. No need to ponder. It is the true dragon Dao source. Jixin, clad in flowing white robes, approached. Ao Yu's eyes widened in realization. The Dao source. I remember now. This artifact can guide us to the ancestral lands of the true dragons, where we may obtain immortal legacies. But why does it manifest here? Such a tangible entity emerging through an ethereal tribulation is exceedingly perplexing. Jixin remained silent, quietly replicating an identical Dao source using the celestial domain of creation for future use. As the master of time, he sensed an alluring force beckoning him down the path ahead. It was time to cross the tribulation and depart. He turned and ascended the steps, entering the heart of the teleportation array. With that, Jixin infused the ancient teleportation array with the power of space and time, activating it. Boom. In an instant, a robust beam of light erupted from the center of the teleportation platform, soaring into the skies and tearing a gaping hole in the heavy clouds. The profound resonance of the great Tao echoed through the heavens, as an invisible portal opened in the depths of the universe, forming a deep vortex that swiftly engulfed the surrounding stars like a black hole, accompanied by a tremendous thunderstorm. The mountains trembled violently, and the teleportation platform shook fiercely. Although Aotian and Dai were robust, they nearly lost their footing. Observing the commotion, Ji Xian frowned and addressed the clouds. Can you manage this? Clean it up. Buzzing. It seemed the heavens truly comprehended his words, as a radiant rainbow bridge descended from the depths of the universe, spanning the celestial expanse and extending beneath Ji Xian's feet. In that moment, the bridge resounded with a celestial melody, drowning out the storm's fury from the black hole. Dai stood in a daze, pondering whom his master had just spoken to. Aotian approached and gently patted his shoulder, speaking earnestly. You will gradually become accustomed to it. Let us proceed. The group stepped onto the radiant bridge, traversing toward the infinite celestial horizon, before being drawn into the black hole and completely departing from that realm of time and space. Chapter 392. The Mysterious Elder, Divine Spirit Island. Upon entering the black hole, the group found themselves upon a vast river. Ji Xian summoned a colossal ship, thousands of feet long, crafted from the power of creation, to glide upon the water's surface and continue their journey. This was an extraordinary space. Despite the tumultuous waves, no sound of splashing water could be heard. Everything else remained unchanged, with a biting cold wind howling towards them, striking the ship with a sound more piercing than a knife's edge. Master, why is it that despite the ferocity of these waters, no sound escapes? Dai inquired, perplexed. Ji Xian stood with his hands clasped behind his back, gazing down at the surging river. The passage of time, of course, is silent. This is the river of time. What? Dai was bewildered, staring at the rapidly flowing waters, feeling as if he were in a dream. Had they not just departed from the great wilderness? How had they entered the river of time? Master, this should be fine, right? I don't want to return as an old man after this journey. There are children at home who have just been born. Dai expressed his anxiety. Ji Xian chuckled at Dai's innocent demeanor, assuring him, of course not. Even if it were to happen, I would not allow you to age. The ship sailed for an extended period. Over 100 years had passed since their departure. During this time, Ji Xian increasingly sensed the peculiarities of this world. As he had previously surmised, the immortal ancient was established upon the river of time, the only entity that could exist in this realm as he understood it. The waters beneath their feet and the land were both the river of time and the immortal ancient, where two temporal rules clashed violently, rendering this region exceedingly perilous. Young master, there are people approaching ahead. At this moment, Aotian stood at the bow of the ship and called back. Ji Xian rose and stepped into the cabin, disappearing from sight. Young brothers, where do you hail from? A small boat docked alongside the larger vessel, and an elderly man clad in a straw hat stood at its helm, puffing on a pipe and laughing as he inquired. Aotian replied, Elder, we come from the great wilderness. The old man took a puff from his pipe and murmured softly, the great wilderness, indeed a fine place. If my memory serves me right, someone of note should have originated from there. What do you mean, Elder? Aotian asked. Oh, nothing, cough cough. The old man coughed a couple of times. Ji Xian suddenly appeared, his gaze calm and steady as he looked down at the straw-hatted elder. Upon hearing Ji Xian's voice, the old man's body involuntarily trembled. He raised his eyes to meet Ji Xian's, his lips parched and his old teeth shifting as he replied. What a remarkably handsome young man in white you are. I am but an embodiment of will, abandoned here to guide the notable individuals who pass by. Ji Xian nodded, simultaneously inquiring of the system regarding the identity of this individual. The embodiment of the will of the immortal of longevity, navigating the long river. Is there any possibility of him taking action against us? Replying to the host, no. This will is an embodiment of benevolence. And the immortal of longevity is the transformation of an ancient tree that endures through the ages, inherently non-aggressive. With this reassurance, Ji Xian lowered his guard, his spirit scanning the elder multiple times, discovering nothing amiss before turning to the system once more. You gentlemen are from the great wilderness, aren't you? The elder asked. Ji Xian confirmed. Indeed, do you have any guidance? The old man chuckled and said, then you are quite fortunate to encounter me. I pass this way only once every few million years. If I am not mistaken, you seek to venture to other realms connected to the great wilderness. This world is quite peculiar, often causing many to lose their way amidst time. If you follow this route for over 300 years, you will come upon an island. Upon reaching it, you will find a portal to leave this river and enter a new world. As he spoke, the elder extended his index finger and traced a route in the air, illustrating it for all to see. Ji Xian committed the path to memory, mentally rehearsing it and confirming no discrepancies before expressing his gratitude to the elder. Thank you. The elder waved his hand dismissively, saying, no need for thanks. If you find me pitiable, a small trinket for remembrance would suffice. Few possess the right to manifest their true selves on this river. It has been ages since I conversed with anyone, at least 10 million years, and you are the first. Ji Xian pondered for a moment, retrieving a blue gourd from the system space and tossing it to the straw-hatted elder. The elder caught the falling gourd with both hands, opened it to sniff. and a smile spread across his face. Ah, a gourd that eternally holds wine. Haha. He hung the gourd at his waist and waved goodbye, saying, "Then I shall take my leave. May we meet again by chance. Farewell." Ji Xian nodded, using his mind to maneuver the vessel onward, steering toward the island as described by the elder. Above the river of time, everything is measured by the symbols of time. Hence the mention of a journey lasting over 300 years. The great ship gradually receded, vanishing into the tumultuous waves. Yet, the old man in the bamboo hat remained rooted in place, gazing longingly at their departing figures. Ah, since the seeds have been sown, the fruition shall not be far behind. He opened his gourd for a sip, warm tears trickling down his cheeks. What exquisite wine, the old man exclaimed, and he continued to propel the boat forward. Following the elder's guidance, the grand vessel sailed for over 300 years, approaching a small island. Though termed a small island, it could well be deemed a continent. On Divine Spirit Island, Ao Sheng stood by a stone tablet, wiping away the dust to reveal the inscriptions. Lord of the Heavenly Emperor, is this the island where the deities reside? He inquired, glancing back at Ji Xian. Ji Xian patted his head and replied, "Who can say? Not every deity possesses the privilege to tread the river of time." With that, he soared into the sky, surveying the isle. The island was divided into 4 distinct regions. The eastern side featured golden fields. The western side boasted towering snow-capped mountains. The southern side was adorned with a chain of active volcanoes, and the northern side was a vast expanse of wetlands. At the very heart of the island stood a statue, tall and imposing, its pinnacle carved with the heads of 4 beasts, a dragon, a tiger, a phoenix, and a tortoise, representing the cardinal directions. After observing all of this, Ji Xian delved into the depths, examining the course of the subterranean dragon veins. He discerned that each of the 4 regions harbored a dragon vein, all ultimately converging at the central point of the island, where the statue stood. It appeared that the next teleportation array was located there. Ji Xian made an astute judgment, unwilling to procrastinate any longer. He extended his colossal hand, enveloping Da Yi and his companions into his miniature realm, transforming into a beam of celestial light, soaring towards the island's center. The statue loomed, towering tens of thousands of feet high, constructed from ancient blue stone, emanating a formidable divine aura. Ji Xian approached, eager for a closer inspection. Suddenly, a brilliant light cascaded from the heavens, manifesting the forms of the 4 divine beasts, charging toward Ji Xian. Chapter 393. Battle with the 4 deities. The 4 divine beasts soared through the sky. The dragon ascended to the heights. The phoenix cried out, shaking the heavens. The tiger roared through the forests, and the tortoise exuded an aura as grand as mountains. Countless feet of genuine dragons extended a claw, imbued with cosmic power, capable of shaking the very stars. The 4 projections, each embodying the mythic realm, bore intriguing significance. Ji Xian smiled lightly, vanishing in an instant. With a thunderous crash, the dragon's claw struck nothing but air, yet the force shattered the entire Divine Spirit Island, fissures sprawling outward, fracturing the island into countless shards. The towering mountains, expansive wetlands, boundless fields, and rumbling volcanoes crumbled and cascaded into the river below. Suddenly, myriad chains of order emerged from the void, swirling and enveloping the entire world. A splash erupted in the river, showering divine radiance, and in an instant, all the ravaged terrain was restored, and Divine Spirit Island regained its former splendor. The chains of order swiftly contracted, ultimately returning to the base of the statue. Was this the method left behind by the celestial beings, awaiting the arrival of future generations? Ji Xian's eyes sparkled like myriad stars, as the colorful essence of creation misted forth, seemingly penetrating all mysteries. The human race. You must endure our trials to attain what you desire. The divine white tiger, with eyes like gilded lanterns and towering over mountains, exuded an aura of formidable majesty as it proclaimed. Ji Xian inquired, "Who are you that remain here?" The phoenix, spreading its wings and unleashing a resonant cry, replied, "You need not know. If you can conquer us, all shall be revealed." With that, her colossal form ignited in flames, intricate totemic patterns emerging to give birth to a vast world of fire. A deity's strike possesses the power to obliterate worlds, and the realm crafted by the phoenix rivaled an entire universe, with countless stars emitting heat, burning fiercely, and hurtling towards Ji Xian like a cataclysmic bomb. Boom! Ji Xian's left hand transformed into a phoenix, soaring through the heavens, striking forward with unyielding force. Wielding the true phoenix's sacred art and mastering the essence of fire, he remained undaunted. The violent collision erupted, annihilating Divine Island once more, engulfing everything in a tempest of flames. Yet in the next moment, the power released by the statue restored it. In a fleeting moment, Ji Xian discerned the ancient script inscribed upon the statue's base. It was a divine text from antiquity, chronicling a forbidden secret method. They were, after all, safeguarding a technique. Ji Xian grasped the entirety of the situation. The phoenix charged again, its wings flapping like 100,000 mountains descending upon Ji Xian, countless stars trailing behind, pressing down upon him. The Emperor's fist. Ji Xian faced it with composure. Unleashing the human sovereign seal from the triad of heaven, earth, and man instantly, an ancient emperor materialized within the river of time, standing tall and surveying all. He slowly swung a fist, summoning a force capable of collapsing eternity, as golden vitality surged forth like a tidal wave, shattering the phoenix into fragments. Even as a cultivator of the mythical realm, she could not withstand Ji Xian's blow. Yet, the cry of the phoenix resounded once more through the void. Its form reconstituting, the flames it emitted now even more vibrant. Phoenix Nirvana. For each time you resurrect, I shall strike you down. Ji Xian comprehended the rules of this realm, unleashing his full might. Mountains of resplendent colors and expanses of golden skies were conjured in his grasp, crashing downwards. Merging with the spectral image of the emperor, he descended upon this world like an ancient deity, each strike unleashing myriad strands of chaotic energy. Akin to the dawn of creation. Boom, boom, boom. In a mere moment, the phoenix's form was obliterated 6 or 7 times by Ji Xian. The speed at which the divine bird reformed began to wane, signifying its impending end. Roar. At this juncture, the white tiger struck, its fluffy paw rending the void as it swiped at Ji Xian. Ji Xian inverted himself, twisting in the air countless times, consolidating his potent vitality in his right leg, and delivered a direct kick. This kick shattered the ethereal, the corporeal manifestation of the tiger's paw, exploding into fragments. The laws of the Tao filled the air, yet no blood spattered, for the divine beasts were merely manifestations of immortal principles, not corporeal entities. The white tiger staggered and lost its footing, tumbling into a vast abyss, resembling a drenched cat in its disarray. Boom. High above, the true dragon seized the opportunity, summoning a tempest of 100,000 thunders, striking downwards. Beside him, the Xuanwu emerged from the depths of the water, surging forth with an endless tide, roaring as it charged towards Ji Xian. Observing the oncoming tempest of thunder and waves, Ji Xian smiled and quipped, "So, you wish to conduct electricity?" With calm composure, he met force with force as he waved his hand, altering the very contours of the surrounding mountains. Countless peaks converged, erecting an immortal gate that obstructed the tumultuous waters. As the thunderous deluge descended, Ji Xian retaliated with equal ferocity. A small banner materialized in his grasp, and with a gentle flourish, celestial beings summoned by the thunderous manifestation erupted from the fissures of the earth, rising to confront the true dragon. Tens of thousands of divine warriors united, treading upon dark clouds, their drums resounding like thunder as they ascended with purpose. The formidable true dragon was swiftly overwhelmed by this relentless force, as weapons forged from thunder cleaved into its massive form, tearing it asunder. Then, Ji Xian reached towards the grand gate and pushed with decisive strength. The entire structure collapsed, submerging the lurking Xuanwu deep into the earth. He dusted off his hands, dispersing the divine radiance and power that enveloped him, returning to the guise of an inconspicuous mortal. Surveying his surroundings and noting their silence, he inquired with a smile, "How do you fare, my friends?" From a distant abyss in the mountains, the white tiger emerged, declaring, "We have passed." Instantly, the ground trembled, and the forms of the 4 divine beasts began to blur, ultimately transforming into 4 luminous orbs that soared into the heart of the island's sacred statue. Ji Xian leaped across the heavens, arriving before the statue. Upon a towering stone pedestal stood a divine pillar, its intricately carved surface faded and adorned with patches of moss, exuding a sense of ancient time and profound history. At the base, a square cauldron was positioned, etched with images of primordial ancestors and various rare beasts. Approaching the cauldron, Ji Xian waved his sleeve, releasing a wisp of ethereal energy that lifted it gracefully. At that moment, the dragon-headed statue atop the pedestal spoke, "Engage in deep contemplation. Defeating us is merely the first trial. Only by comprehending the scriptures within this cauldron can you transcend to another realm. Great strength is but one aspect. To truly traverse the passage of time, one must grasp the essence of the Tao." Ji Xian seated himself upon a nearby mat, placing the cauldron before him. His mind focused as he entered a state of enlightenment. Threads of Tao essence emanated from him, intertwining like vibrant silken strands with the cauldron. In an instant, the cauldron trembled, its empty interior revealing ancient characters that flowed back into Ji Xian through the colorful threads. Chapter 394. The 4 Polar Heavenly Arts. The path of creation upon the stone pedestal, Ji Xian's white attire was enveloped in a layer of golden mist, his figure shrouded in resplendent divine radiance. Behind him, a Bodhi tree, exuding an aura of celestial wisdom, swayed gently, shedding leaves that contributed to the tranquil beauty of the scene. The scriptures within the cauldron were divided into 4 parts, each corresponding to the cardinal directions, with the true dragon, white tiger, phoenix, and Xuanwu each guarding their respective realms. Through his contemplation, Ji Xian discerned that the forbidden secret technique concealed within the cauldron was named the 4 Polar Heavenly Arts. Around him, the ethereal forms of the 4 divine beasts manifested, circling Ji Xian as he swiftly assimilated the secrets of this technique. Yet, his enlightenment was far from complete. He was astonished to discover that the four sacred beasts had stirred the Tai Chi celestial map within him. Each of the four divine creatures settled upon the map, occupying distinct positions, and began to take root in this chaotic realm. This was not a deliberate guidance by Ji Xian, but rather a resonance between two paths, drawing each other in. Suddenly, a more wondrous event unfolded. The great river of time, which should have been shrouded by temporal laws, inexplicably revealed a vast starry sky. In this celestial expanse, four sacred beasts presided over the cardinal directions, formed by a multitude of stars, resonating with the Tai Chi celestial map within Ji Xian. The starry sky